I am live. Hello, hello. Boy, do I have a story for you. It's not really a story. I mean, I kind of do have a story, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. I have this story, Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. I have that story for you, but that's not what I'm talking about. I have the story of why the fuck am I 40 minutes late for the stream? And it's like this, right? I was supposed to be here about 40 minutes ago, but then I fell asleep about an hour ago. And then my body was like, oof, yeah, you're gonna be there for a bit, bucko. You're gonna be there for a little bit. So, you know, I stayed asleep for a really long time. Much longer than I wanted to. But now I'm here. I miss my boy Shaughnessy Feeney. This is so sad, bro. And I'm thinking if I should even do the stream. Because, like, I fucked up on the time scheduling. It's time! I'm glad you napped. At least I'm not dead. At least I'm not dead too. Oh my god, you guys are here. Never mind. Never mind. I will not be fucking it up. We're gonna be doing the shiz. We're gonna be doing the thing. The reading thing. Okay. Welcome in Anthony Belding and it's Bonnie Faye. It's always nice to have you guys here for the read stream. But yeah, since you guys are here, I can't not do it. It's just what the rule is. But before we get started, we do have to talk about the thing that I read off screen. The Demigod, what is this, Files? The Demigod Files, yep. This was good. It's like, hold on, I did not expect it to be like that short though. Like I knew how short it was, but also like the last 20 pages were just like, the last 20 pages were just crossword puzzle. Like they were all crossword puzzle. Or when you said you give a longer heads up, I was expecting 2 days. Yeah, I wasn't either. Like, to be honest, I had a whole system planned out. Like, a whole, like, system for, like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna alert everybody. And then I was like, all right, 2 days, cool. Just so everybody knows. And then, and then I was like, okay, shorts and everything. That's gonna happen. And then my brain and body was like, and in time, and destiny and fate, then all those things were like, yeah, you're not doing that. Oh, shit's gonna get in your way. Ooh, everything's gonna mess you up. So, that happened. That's unfortunate. Ooh, Demigod Files. I liked a lot of Demigod Files. It was really... First of all, I like that we got to see Clarice and Percy stuff. I like we got a whole short story dedicated to them. This would be a much better book if it was like only Clarice and Percy. I love them. I love how it ended. How Clarice was like, I want to be Percy. I want to be Percy's friend. That kind of thing. That was great. That was so great. Freaking love that. And then what is it? Then the second short story, what was the second short story? The Annabeth one at camp, that was alright. That was fine. That was okay. Like, it was cool to see Annabeth and like, and Beckendorf and all that stuff at camp. And like, Annabeth really, did she plan all that shit? I was like, floored. I was like, she planned all of that? That whole thing she planned? I was like, that's terrible. That was okay though. But the best one, by far, was the last one, Percy in the Sword of Hades, dude, with like, this is the first time Percy, Nico, and Thalia stand together as like the trio of the demigods, like of the big three. Before it was just like, oh, we're some people. Now it's like we're the kids of the big three, and it's cool. It's really cool. And like most people are like, who's your favorite trio in Percy Jackson? And people are probably gonna be like Percy, Amethyst, and Grover. Obviously, nah. Percy, Nico, and Thalia. That's just an epic trio, dude. That's just cool. That's just cool as hell. And that whole chapter was, ooh, that was great. I loved it. I'm the same way. If I ever plan anything longer than later that day, everything that can go wrong will to ruin the plans. Honestly, I was so mad. I woke up and I was like, 6:30? You mean 6:30 on Monday? Is that what you mean? Like, that's like, I looked at it, I was like, 6:30 on not today? 6:30 on an earlier day? Not much comparison to that trio. Honestly, dude. Percy, Thalia, and Nico, they're so cool. That's such a dope trio, bro. Alright, let me not, hold on. Accidentally watch this freaking Twitch stream in the middle of shiz. Okay. But, yes, good. Demigod Files was nice. It was fun. Not too much to talk about, obviously. Not a lot happened. I like the interviews. Half of it was a crossword puzzle, but that's fine. It's okay. But I had a lot more planned for this stream, to be honest with you. I had to do a lot more stuff, and then the time came, and I was like, we'll just do that later. We'll do it for a different one. But time is now for the last Olympian. Very excited. Very freaking excited for this one. It's been a week since I've streamed, so I don't know. Over a week since I've streamed, so I'm excited to get back into this with you guys. We're going to be reading the whole thing on stream. Not today. Not all of it. We will at most be reading 5 chapters today. Don't really know if that we can stick with 5 chapters, but that's the cap. That is the cap, the first 5 chapters. Might only read the first 3. Who knows? I do have some shit going on, so I might have to leave halfway through to deal with that. Who knows? Who knows, but we'll see. But first things first, you know, tradition around here, we gotta look at the cover and decide which cover is better. That's really what we're all here for. Which cover is the best cover in Percy Jackson history? Let's see. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. The last Olympian. I'm really curious what that means. The last Olympian, right? It's like, okay, first of all, here's the original cover, right? Hold on, where is this shit? I'm just gonna, thank you. Open image in new tab, lovely. This is the original cover. This is epic. Yeah, the original cover is like whatever. To be completely honest with you, both covers are like, this is whatever. Like, this is like, but this is just like an upward angle of like Percy and Blackjack and shit. Oh crap, it's Amazon. No, not Amazon. Ah, how dare you. Hold on, okay. Just gonna ignore that. This. This one is cool. I like this one better. It's just like a more epic, really? It's just a more, you like the OG more? It's like a more like epic picture, like a more like serious picture of like what's about to go down in the book. Like a picture of like Percy on Blackjack again. I don't know what, this is obviously some significance to this. This is the Bluebird, this is the Empire State Building or something. Olympus, yeah. There's Olympus Tower, whatever. And then there's this, whatever that is. I have no idea what this is. Maybe it's Scylla again. But this is just like, oh, it's just like a dude. And there's a light coming through. I guess that's cool. But this looks more intense. Yeah, I don't know. I like this one better. It just looks more intense to me. That's just what I'm getting. Honestly, your 5 chapters each stream is a good setup after I skimmed. Even if you don't do it all the way, it's perfect structure for this book. I hope, oh, okay, that's good. Then I hope we can do 5 chapters this stream. If I can't though, we will figure it out, because I'm warning you, I might full on get interrupted. I'm just attached. Nostalgia really keeps me there. Fair. This is fair. Like, it's not bad. Like I said, they're both kind of the same thing. Like, they're both kind of the same. The camera is just next to Percy, and this one, it's under him. And it makes it look a little bit more, like, epic. Like, oh, this is cool. But it doesn't really matter. Yeah, but we might get interrupted. Just letting you know right now. So, if I have to leave, you're not like, oh, what the fuck? But yeah. Okay, I'm upset with myself that I didn't do a lot of the things that I planned to do, and I'm not gonna tell you what I was gonna do because I'm gonna try to do them for a future stream. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, but that's going down. This has been the least diversifying. This is cool, actually. I've seen this image before. It didn't make sense until just now. Because I didn't get it. But this, Luke's with the golden eyes. This is cool. I like this picture from the comics. Although I don't know if the Percy Jackson comics are even good, because I tried to look up some on Google, and like it seems like they cut out major shit. Like they cut out Percy holding the sky and the Titan's curse and shit, or maybe I just missed that, but I don't think I did. Like it just feels like it got cut out, along with Percy and Tyson versus Polyphemus, which is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. Like that's like, where did it go? It's just not there. So, I don't know. But I would love to read the Percy Jackson comics if they are in fact not sucky. How do you cut that? I have no idea, bro. I have no idea how you actually cut Percy holding the Titan's curse. He's holding the Titan's curse, and Percy and Tyson versus Polyphemus, like the two most important scenes in those books. You just cut them. Like I don't get how you do that. I can't say since I never read them. Damn it. So I like pictures. That's my whole thing. The pictures are cool. Bam. Pro streamer moment thingy. Let's do this. Actually, let's do this as well. Camera, help me out here. Bam. Ooh, look at me go. Okay. Sick. Sick. It looks like the old cover with new colors at a different angle. Yeah, it does. I'm sorry I missed some of these. My brain is going at a mile a minute because of all the shit that's happening. Might as well cut Percy fighting Ares. Honestly, wait, they did? They cut Percy fighting There's no way, bro. There's actually no way. Have I read the Kane Chronicles? No, I have not read the Kane Chronicles. I have not read the Kane Chronicles. This is strictly a Percy Jackson first adventure. Kane Chronicles does sound interesting to me, though. I was talking about the movie. Oh, yeah. They did cut that in the movie. This is true. I might read the. I'm interested in the Kane Chronicles, but I'm not reading it yet. I'm not there in the Riordan verse yet to want to read Kane Chronicles. Yeah, they did cut in the movie. It was Luke versus Percy, which I think that hasn't even happened in the books yet. Like Percy fought Luke once in training, and they haven't fought a second time. Like, so I'm guessing they're gonna fight again in this book. Yes. Haven't read the comic book. From what little I did, the characters look whack. They did look whack. This is true. All right, pre-book. What's what I'm looking for? Motherfucking pre-book predictions. That's it. That's the word I was looking for. They fought in the Sea of Monsters where Luke washed Percy. Did they? I don't. Actually, they kind of did. I guess. I don't really remember that. Pre-book predictions. Okay. Somebody has to die. Somebody has to die in this book because the cords of life have been cut. The safest bet for death, I'm going Luke. Nobody could confirm or deny my predictions. Okay, he did. Okay, yeah, I better remember. My bad. My memory gone. But yes, cords of life cut. It's probably Luke. He's probably gonna die. Tell me if it's or not. This is just my theories. What else? I want a moment. I want two things actually. I want a moment in this where Percy, Thalia, and Nico are standing like all basically in a line and basically like as the trio of demigod big three, like a cool moment like that. And I also want a moment where Percy and Poseidon are fighting side by side. I don't know if I'm gonna get that because it's like apparently forbidden for gods to fight in wars or some bullshit, but like it's fine. I would love that if that happened. It'd be so cool if Percy and Poseidon like did a tag team fight. That'd be dope. What else? I need a dope Dionysus moment. A dope Mr. No, a dope Chiron moment. These are just all. These aren't even. Some of these aren't even theories. These are just things that I want to happen. I want. What else? What else? What else? Any thoughts? I want my girl Selena Beauregard. I want my girl Selena Beauregard to like finesse the fuck out of somebody. I don't care who it is. I just need her to have a moment. I just need her to have one clean a moment in this. Like just straight going to town, like fighting. That's just what I need. And I need Blackjack to do something cool, which I believe that that's gonna happen. I can't really think about a bunch of other things. Emphasis on that Selena Beauregard thing. I really need Selena Beauregard to do, but these theories are great. What? Well, shut up. I can't hear you saying that, but I feel there's sarcasm in that sentence. Shut up. I want the side characters to get more than one sentence per book. Yeah, facts. That's what I want. I need my girl. My most important thing is for Selena Beauregard, Percy, and his dad, and the big three demigod trio. Those are my most important things. Do I have anything else? Anything else? Ooh, I want Hades to come back. I want Percy and Hades to have the conversation. I want Uncle Hades to be back. So yeah. Also, I want Percy to call him Uncle. I want Percy to call Zeus Uncle. And yes. There's certain things that I know are gonna happen. Like Tyson's gonna run somebody's fade. He does it every book. Tyson is the second king of fades. And he takes after his older brother. So yeah. I'm really putting off opening this book because it's such a beautifully clean book. Like it's like I don't want to bend it. I don't want to bend the spine. Blackjack is the noblest of steeds. This is true. Blackjack is that man. He really is that man. That's just how it is. Give me a second. I'm gonna send one text message, and then I'm gonna freaking. Alright. Everyone needs a wingman like Blackjack. This is true. Alright. Time to begin this book that I've been actually way too excited for. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the last Olympian. I've never opened it before. Just the bending of the spine is like what really ruins it for me. It makes it exciting and less exciting at the same time. 'Cause it looks so nice before. To Mr. Pabst, my 8th grade English teacher, who started me on my journey as a writer. That is a perfect dedication for this book. That is a perfect dedication for this book. I forgot how packed this book was until I read it at Rico, action and emotionally. I've heard nothing of the I've heard the same thing of the sort. A lot of the same shiz. Dang, he's really giving me a lot of this shit right now. Also by Rick Jordan. They listed every single other book he's ever written. That's so cool. Son of Neptune and all this shit, Trials of Apollo and all this shit. Watching a book's spine slowly degrade, it is the worst. It's actually really sad. Ooh. A battle map of Manhattan? What the fuck? What the fuck? The Camp Half-Blood. Williamsburg Bridge. What the fuck? I'm not even gonna pay much attention to that. I'm not even gonna, yeah. Okay. Cool. We cool. Time to begin. It's been 20 minutes. This is officially the longest preamble I've ever done, but it's fine. Okay. Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, Chapter 1. I go cruising with explosives. The end of the world started when a Pegasus landed on the hood of my car. That's a great first line of this book. Up until then, I was having a great afternoon. Technically, I wasn't supposed to be driving because I wouldn't turn 16 for another week. But my mom and my stepdad Paul took my friend Rachel and me, let's go Rachel, to this private stretch of beach on the South Shore, and Paul let us borrow his Prius for a short spin. Now I know you're thinking, wow, that's really irresponsible of him, blah blah blah. But Paul knows me pretty well. He's seen me slice up demons and leap. So Paul knows. Like, does he know? Leap out of exploding school buildings. So he probably figured taking a car a few hundred yards was exactly the most dangerous thing I'd ever done. Anyway, Rachel and I were driving along. It was a hot August day. Rachel's red hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and she wore a white blouse over her swimsuit. I've never seen her in anything but ratty t-shirts and paint sweater jeans before, and she looked like a million golden drachmas. Damn, Perce. I'll pull up right here, she told me. Right there, she told me. We parked on a ridge overlooking the Atlantic. The sea is always one of my favorite places. Of course it is. But today, it was especially nice. Glittery green and smooth as glass. As though my dad was keeping it calm just for us. My dad, by the way, he's Poseidon. He can do stuff like that. We know. We know. We know. What is it? So, Rachel smiled at me. About that invitation. Oh, right. I tried to sound excited. I mean, she'd asked me to her family's vacation house on St. Thomas for 3 days. I didn't get a lot of offers like that. My family's idea of a fancy vacation was a weekend in a rundown cabin on Long Island with some movie rentals and a couple of frozen pizzas. And here, Rachel's folks were willing to let me tag along to the Caribbean. Damn. I wish I had friends like that. Besides, I seriously needed a vacation. This summer had been the hardest of my life. The idea of taking a break, even for a few days, was really tempting. Still, something big was supposed to go down any day now. I was on call for a mission. Even worse, next week was my birthday. There was this prophecy that said I turned 16. This is when I turned 16. There was this prophecy that said when I turned 16, bad things would happen. There was this prophecy that said I could finish a sentence without stuttering. Jesus Christ. Percy, she said, I know the timing is bad, but it's always bad for you, right? She had a point. I really want to go, I promise. It's just the war. Yeah, that little war I'm a part of. That little war is that cheeky little war, yeah. I nodded. I didn't like talking about it, but Rachel knew, unlike most mortals, she could see through the mist, the magic veil that distorts the human vision. She'd seen monsters. She met some of the other demigods who were fighting Titans and their allies. She'd even been there last summer when the chopped up Lord Kronos rose out of the coffin in a terrible new form. And she'd earned my permanent respect by nailing him in the eye with a blue plastic hairbrush. Let's go. She put her hand on my arm. Just think about it, okay? We don't leave for a couple of days. My dad, her voice faltered. Is he giving you a hard time? I asked. Rachel shook her head in disgust. He's trying to be nice to me, which is almost worse. He wants me to go to Claren Ladies Academy in the fall. The school where your mom went? It's a stupid finishing school for society girls. All the way in New Hampshire. Can you see me in finishing school? I admitted the idea sounded pretty dumb. Rachel was into urban art projects and feeding the homeless and going to protest at rallies to save the endangered yellow-bellied sapsucker and stuff like that. I've never seen her wear a dress. It was hard to imagine her learning to be a socialite. She sighed. He thinks if he does a bunch of nice stuff for me, I'll feel guilty and give in. Which is why he agreed to let me come with you guys on vacation. Yes, but Percy, you'd be doing me a huge favor. It would be so much better if you were with us. Besides, there's something I want to talk. She stopped absurdly. Something you want to talk about? Us? You mean it's so serious? We'd have to go to St. Thomas to talk about it? Rachel's gonna propose. Rachel's gonna propose, and Percy's gonna say no. That's exactly what's gonna happen. You're so sad. She pursed her lips. Look, just forget it for now. Let's pretend we're a couple of normal people. We're out for a drive, and we're watching the ocean. And it's nice to be together. I could tell something was bothering her, but she put on a brave smile. The sunlight made her hair look like fire. We spent a lot of time together this summer. I hadn't exactly planned it that way, but the more serious things got at camp, the more I found myself needing to call up Rachel and get away. Dang, so we missed a whole summer of adventures. We just gonna skip to the end of summer this time. Okay. Interesting. Call Rachel and get away. Just for some breathing room. I needed to remind myself the mortal world was still out there, away from all the monsters using me as their personal punching bag. Okay, I said. Just a normal afternoon and two normal people. She nodded. And so, hypothetically, if these two normal people liked each other, what would it take to get the stupid guy to kiss the girl? Bruh! No, Rachel, girl, you can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. I'm supposed to be a shipper that the book denies. You can't feed me this. Like, you can't. Like, I'm like, I don't want to read you actively trying to game my boy, trying to riz Percy up. Damn. What's he gonna do? Oh, I felt like one of Apollo's sacred cows, slow, dumb, and bright red. I can't pretend I hadn't thought about Rachel. She was so much easier to be around than, well, than some other girls I knew. The shade. I didn't have to work hard, or watch what I said, or rack my brain trying to figure out what she was thinking. Rachel didn't hide much. She let you know how much she felt. I'm not sure what I would have done next, but I was so distracted, I didn't notice the huge black form swooping from the sky until 4 hooves landed on the hood of the Prius with a wump wump crunch. Nah, dude. Nah. Come on, you can't do me like that, Rick. You can't do me like that, bro. Burb. Okay. Alright, cool, Jack Chase. I like how in Titan's Curse, Percy mentions he can't wait to be able to drive, and mentions it again in the Battle of Labyrinth, and now we see him driving in this book. Yeah, it's cool. It's just a nice little thing. And of course it makes sense because he's like almost 16, but it's nice, it's cool. Hey boss, a voice said in my head, nice car. Blackjack, the Pegasus, was an old friend of mine. I tried not to get too annoyed by the critters he just put in the hood. But I didn't think my stepdad would be real stoked. Blackjack, I sighed. What are you... Then I saw who was riding on his back, and I knew my day was about to get a lot more complicated. Sup, Percy? Charles Beckendorf, senior counselor for the Hephaestus cabin, would make most monsters cry for their mommies. He was huge with ripped muscles from working on the forges every summer. 2 years older than me, and one of the camp's best armorsmiths. He made some seriously ingenious mechanical stuff. A month before, he rigged a Greek firebomb in the bathroom of a tour bus that was carrying a bunch of monsters across the country. The explosion took out a whole legion of Kronos' evil meanies. Evil meanies. As soon as the first harpy went flush, Beckendorf was dressed for combat. He wore a bronze breastplate and war helm with black camo pants and a sword strapped to his side. His explosive bag was slung over his shoulder. Time? I asked. He nodded grimly, and a clump formed in my throat. I had known this was coming. We'd been planning for it for weeks, but I'd hoped it would never happen. What's happening, Perce? What's going on? Also, the Demigod files are the stories of what happened during last summer. Are they? Because a lot of them seem like... Because I know this... It's like... That doesn't... I don't think that's true. Because, like, in the Ares Stolen Chariot, Percy was at school. During the Nico Thalia one, Percy was also at school. So the only one that happened during summer was the Capture the Flag one. If that's what's implied, okay. Maybe it's the year in between, but I don't think they were all that, because, like, literally some of them, is like the Hades one happens during Christmas, like they say that. So I don't think it's all. Maybe it's just the Capture the Flag one that takes place then. Rachel looked up at Beckendorf. Hi. Oh hey, I'm Beckendorf. You must be Rachel. Percy's told me. I mean, he mentioned you. Rachel raised eyebrows. Really? Good. She glanced at Blackjack, who was clapping his hooves against the hood of the Prius. So I guess you guys have to go save the world now. Pretty much. Beckendorf agreed. I looked at Rachel helplessly. You tell my mom, I'll tell her. I'm sure she's used to it. And I'll explain to Paul about the hood. I nodded my thanks. I figured this might be the last time Paul owned me his car. Probably, but it's fine. You're 16 in a week. Also, you have a Pegasus. Like, what do you need a car for? Good luck. Rachel kissed me before I could even react. Now get going. After going half-blood, kill some monsters. Go kill some monsters for me. Dang, he's been kissed by Annabeth, and now he's been kissed by Rachel. Why about Percy's pulling? Percy's pulling. He's swimming in it. Swimming in it. Well, the labyrinth ended before summer, I think. This is true. But like the labyrinth ended, but Percy was still 14 during the labyrinth. And then he turned 15 after that at the end of the labyrinth. So we've had a summer since then. This is the end of that summer. Remember the last book ended in August and it has been nearly a year. Yeah, it ended in August last year. Percy's beginning. So school year and then summer. Yeah. So summer is basically over. We've missed the adventures of summer. Hold on. I have to check something. Continuously, basically. Okay, cool. Let us leave. Let us continue. Where is it? Okay. My last view of her was sitting in the shotgun seat of the Prius, her arms crossed, watching as Blackjack circled higher and higher, carrying Beckendorf me into the sky. I wonder what Rachel wanted to talk to me about, and whether I'd live long enough to find out. So, Beckendorf said, I'm guessing you don't want me to mention that little scene to Annabeth. I love Beckendorf, bro. Especially because of the short story. I love Beckendorf a lot more. Oh gods, I muttered. Don't even think about it. Like, Beckendorf seems like Percy's older brother, and I really love that. Beckendorf chuckled, and together we soared out over the Atlantic. It was almost dark by the time we spotted our target. The Princess Andromeda glowed on the horizon. A huge cruise ship lit up yellow and white from a distance. You'd think it was just a party ship, not the headquarters for the Titan Lord. Then as you got closer, you might notice the giant figurehead, a dark-haired maiden in a Greek chiton, wrapped in chains with a look of horror on her face, as if she could smell the stench of all monsters she was being forced to carry. Seeing the ship again twisted my guts into knots. I'd almost died twice in the Princess Andromeda. Now it was heading straight for New York. You know what to do? Beckendorf yelled over the wind. I nodded. We'd done dry runs at the dockyards in New Jersey, using abandoned ships as our target. I knew how little time we would have, but I also knew this was our best chance to end Kronos' invasion before it ever started. This is not going to work. Blackjack, I said. Set us down on the lowest stern deck. Gotcha, boss, he said. Man, I hate seeing that boat. 3 years ago, Blackjack had been enslaved on the Princess Andromeda. Back then, he was also a girl. Frosty! Whoa! I don't think I've ever seen you. If I have, I'm sorry that I forgot you. But what chapter is this? This is the first chapter. We've just started reading, so we don't... Page 11. Damn, my girl. Bonnie, you are following. Okay? That is some pretty apt, description. Thank you for that. What is it? Back then, Blackjack was a girl and shit. I figured he'd rather, have his mane braided like My Little Pony than be back here again. Don't wait for us, I told him. But boss, trust me, I said. We'll get out by ourselves. Blackjack folded his wings and plummeted toward the boat like a black comet. The wind whistled in my ears. I saw a monster patrolling the decks of the ship. Dracane. Yeah. Dracane snake women, hellhounds, giants, and the humanoid seal demons known as Telkinese. But we zipped by so fast, none of them raised the alarm. We shot down the stern of the boat, and Blackjack spread his wings, lightly coming to land on the lowest deck. I climbed off, feeling queasy. Good luck, boss, Blackjack said. Don't let him turn you into horse meat. With that, my old friend flew off into the night. I took my pen out of my pocket, and I capped it. Riptide sprang to full size. 3 feet of deadly celestial bronze glowing in the dark. Beckendorf pulled a piece of paper out of his pocket. I thought it was a map or something. Then I realized it was a photograph. He stared at it in dim light. The smiling face of Selena Beauregard, daughter of Aphrodite. It started going out last summer. Okay, that was last summer. That was last summer, that thing. What's this upcoming? I have no idea. That's actually a confusing sentence. Actually, it still is summer, I think. After years of the rest of us saying, "Duh, you guys like each other," even with all the dangerous missions, Beckendorf had been happier this summer than I'd ever seen him. Yep. Okay. So all of those stories took place last year. We didn't have anything from this summer to talk about. Cool. We'll make it back to camp, I promised. For a second, I saw worry in his eyes. Then he put on his old confident smile. You bet. If they kill Beckendorf, me and Rick are gonna have issues. We're gonna have actual problems. You bet, he said. Let's go blow Kronos back into a million pieces. Beckendorf led the way. We followed the narrow corridor to service stairwell, just like we'd practiced, but we froze when we heard a noise above us. I don't care what your nose says, snarled the half-human, half-dog voice, a telephony. The last time you smelled a half-blood, it turned out to be a meatloaf sandwich. Meatloaf sandwiches are good, a second voice snarled. This is half-blood scent, I swear. They are on board. Bah, your brain isn't on board. They continued to argue, and Beckendorf pointed downstairs. We descended as quietly as we could. Two floors down, the voice of the telephony started to fade. Finally, we came to a metal hatch. Beckendorf mouthed the words, engine room. It was locked, but Beckendorf pulled some chain cutters out of his bag and split the bolt like it was made of butter. Inside a row of yellow turbines, the size of grain silos, churned and hummed. Pressure gauges and computer terminals lined the opposite wall. A telephony was hunched over a console, but he was so involved with his work, he didn't notice us. He was about 5 feet tall, with slick black seal fur and stubby little feet. He had the head of a Doberman, but his clawed hands were almost human. He growled and muttered as he tapped on the keyboard. Maybe he was messaging his friends on uglyface.com. Damn, Percy. I stepped forward, and he tensed, probably smelling something was wrong. He leaped sideways toward a big red alarm button, but I blocked his path. He hissed and lunged at me, but one slice of riptide and he exploded into dust. Vicious! One down, Beckendorf said. About 5,000 to go. He tossed me a jar of thick green liquid, Greek fire, one of the most dangerous magical substances in the world. Okay. Then he threw me another essential tool of the demigod heroes. Duct tape! Slap that one on the console, he said. I'll get the turbines. We went to work. The room was hot and humid, and in no time we were drenched in sweat. The boat kept chugging along. Being the sun up beside me now, I have perfect bearings at sea. Don't ask me how, but I could tell we were at 40.9 degrees north longitude, 71.90 degrees west latitude, making 18 knots. The ship would arrive at New York Harbor by dawn. This would be our only chance to stop it. I had just attached a second jar of Greek fire to the controls when I heard the pounding of feet on metal steps. So many creatures coming down the stairwell, I could hear them over the engine. Not a good sign. I locked eyes with Beckendorf. How much longer? Too long. He tapped his watch, which is our remote control detonator. I still have to wire the receiver and prime the charges. 10 more minutes at least. Fuck! Judging from the sound of the footsteps, we need about 10 seconds. I'll distract him, I said. Meet you at the rendezvous, Percy. Wish me luck. He looked like he wanted to argue. The whole idea had been to get in and out without being spotted. We were going to have to improvise. Good luck, he said. I charged out the door. A half dozen telekineses were tromping down the stairs. I cut through them with riptide faster than they could, yelping, damn, he's mowing through people. I kept climbing, past the telekinesis, who was startled. He dropped his little demon's lunchbox. I left him alive, partly because the lunchbox was cool, partly so we could raise the alarm and hopefully get his friends to follow rather than head toward the engine room. Smart thinking, dude. I burst through a door onto deck 6 and kept running. I'm sure the carpeted hall had once been very plush, but over the last 3 years of monster occupation, the wallpaper carpet and stateroom doors had been clawed up and slimmed so it looked like the inside of Dragon's throat. And yes, unfortunately, I could speak from experience. Back in my first visit to the Princess Andromeda, my old enemy, Luke, had kept some dazed tourists on board for show, shrouded in the mist. They didn't realize they were on a monster-infested ship. Now, I didn't see any sign of tourists. I had to think what happened to them, but I kind of doubted they'd be allowed to go home with their bingo winnings. Yeah, probably not. Percy, of all people, does not get to make fun of someone for not for not being with someone they obviously like. This is true. This is true. Percy needs to man up. I hope they give Beckendorf Selena get more screen time in this show. I hope they do too. That'd be so great. Because we won't see Beckendorf and Selena until the second season. That's gonna be fun. I reached the promenade, a big shopping mall that took up the whole middle of the ship. I stopped cold. In the middle of the country yard stood a fountain. In the fountain squatted a giant crab. I'm not talking giant like $7.99 all you can eat Alaskan king crab. I'm talking giant, like bigger than the fountain. The monster rose 10 feet out of the water. Its shell was molted blue and green. Its pincers longer than my body. If you've ever seen a crab's mouth, all foamy and gross, with whiskers and snapping bits, you can imagine this one didn't look any better. Blown up to billboard size. Its beady black eyes glared at me, and I could see intelligence in them, and hate. The fact that I was a son of the sea god was not going to win me any points with Mr. Krabby. It hissed, sea foam dripping from its mouth. The smell coming off it was like garbage can full of fish steaks and had been sitting in the sun all week. Percy loves describing the smell of things. He really does. Alarms blared. Soon I was going to have lots of company, and I had to keep moving. Hey, Krabby! I inched around the edge of the courtyard. I'm just going to skid around you. So the crab moved with amazing speed. It scuttled out of the fountain and came straight to me. The pincers snapping, I dove into a gift shop, plowing through a rack of t-shirts. A crab pincer smashed the glass walls to pieces and raked across the room. I dashed back outside, breathing heavily, but Mr. Krabby turned and followed. There, a voice said from the balcony above me, intruder! If I'd wanted to create a distraction, I'd succeeded. But this was not where I wanted to fight. If I got pinned down in the center of the ship, I was a crab chow. The demonic crustacean lunged at me. I sliced with Riptide, taking off the tip of its claws. It hissed and foamed, but didn't seem very hurt. I tried to remember anything from the old stories that might help this thing. That might help with this thing. Annabeth told me about a monster crab. Something about Hercules crushing it under his foot. That wasn't going to work here. The crab was slightly bigger than my Reeboks. Percy wears Reeboks? No! Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, King. He wears Reeboks. This is so sad. Then a weird thought occurred to me. Last Christmas, my mom and I had bought Paul Blowfist to our cabin at Montauk, where we'd been going forever. Paul had taken me crabbing, and when he brought up a full net of the things, he'd show me how crabs have a chink in their armor, right in the middle of their ugly bellies. The only problem was getting to the ugly belly. I glanced at the fountain, then at the marble floor, already slick from scuttling crab tracks. I held up my hand, concentrating on the water, and the fountain exploded. Water sprayed everywhere, 3 stories high, dousing the balconies and the elevators and the windows of the shops. The crab didn't care. It loved water. It came at me sideways, snapping and hissing, and I ran straight at it, screaming. Ah! Before we collided, I hit the ground, baseball style. I slid on the wet marble floor, straight under the creature. It was like sliding under a 7-ton armored vehicle. All the crab had to do was sit and squash me. But before it realized what was going on, I jabbed Riptide into the chink in its armor, let go of the hilt, and pushed myself out the backside. The monster shuddered and hissed. Its eyes dissolved. Its shell turned bright red as its insides evaporated. Damn. Percy was not playing with that crab. I love how Percy just is like, you can tell by how Rick's describing these battle scenes that Percy's a lot more adept at everything than he was before. Like he's finessing with his powers, he's finessing with sword skills. Like he's constantly thinking, okay, what's the stories that are gonna help me? Like he's way better than before, which I really like a lot. Like if you read like a fight from this, and then a fight from Lightning Thief, you're gonna see 2 different things. The empty shell clattered to the floor in a massive heap. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, according to Percy, everything in Greek mythology smells rancid. Yes, apparently. Not Ken. Percy has to be stunning on monsters and Jordans. Yeah, that's what he's got to be fresh to death with it. He's gotta be in the Poseidon 3s, bro. That's what he needs to be wearing. Just shoes with tridents on the side would go so hard. I didn't have time to admire my handiwork. I ran for the nearest stairs, while all around the monsters and demigods shouted orders and strapped on their weapons. I was empty-handed. Riptide being magic would appear in my pocket sooner or later, but for now it was stuck somewhere under the wreckage of the crowd, and I had no time to retrieve it. In the elevator foyer on deck 8, a couple of Dracanes flowed across my path. From the waist up, they were a woman with green, scaly skin, yellow eyes, and forked tongues. From the waist down, they had double snake trunks instead of legs. They held spears and weighted nets, and I knew from experience they could use them. "What is this?" one said. "A prize for Kronos." I wasn't in the mood to play Break the Snake, but in front of me was a stand with a model of a ship, like a "You Are Here" display. I ripped the model off the pedestal and hurled it at the first Dracane. Dang. The boat smacked her in the face, and she went down with the ship. I jumped over her and grabbed her friend's spear. I swung her around and swung her around. She slammed into the elevator, and I kept running toward the front of the ship. "Get him!" she screamed. "Percy is finessing the fuck out of all these monsters right now. She is actually destroying them." Hellhounds bayed. An arrow from somewhere whizzed past my face and impaled itself in the mahogany-paneled wall of the staircase. I didn't care, as long as I got the monsters away from the engine room and gave Beckendorf more time. As I was running up the stairwell, a kid charged down. He looked like he'd just woken up from a nap. His armor was half on. He drew his sword and yelled, "Kronos!" But he sounded more scared than angry. He couldn't have been more than 12, about the same age I was when I first arrived at Camp Half-Blood. That thought depressed me. This kid was getting brainwashed, trained to hate the gods, and lash out because he'd been born half Olympian. Kronos was using him, and yet the kid thought I was his enemy. No way I was going to hurt him. I need a weapon for this. I stepped aside, his strike, and grabbed his waist, slammed it against the wall, and his sword clattered out of his hand. Dude, I love seeing this. This is Percy's so cool this time chapter, you won't even believe it. Percy's so cool, he's just finessing everyone. Then I did something I hadn't planned on. It was probably stupid. It definitely jeopardized our mission, but I couldn't help it. "If you want to live," I told him, "get off the ship now. Tell the other demigods." Then I shoved him down the stairs instead of tumbling to the next floor. I kept climbing. Bad memories. A hallway ran past the cafeteria. Past the cafeteria. Annabeth, my half-brother Tyson, and I sneaked through here 3 years ago on my first visit. I burst outside the main deck off the port bow. The sky was darkening from purple to black. A swimming pool glowed between two glass towers, with more balconies and restaurant decks. The whole upper ship seemed eerily deserted. All I had to do was cross the other side. Then I could take the staircase down to the helipad, our emergency rendezvous point. With any luck, Beckendorf would meet me there. We jump into the sea, my water powers would protect us both, and we detonate the charges from a quarter mile away. I was halfway across the deck when the sound of a voice made me freeze. "You're late, Percy." Luke stood on the balcony above me, a smile on his scarred face. "Come on, man. Come on." You never see Luke this early. He wore jeans, a white t-shirt, and flip-flops, like he was just a normal college-age guy, but his eyes told the truth. They were solid gold. "We've been expecting you for days." At first he sounded normal, like Luke, but then his face twitched. A shudder passed through his body, as though he just drugged something really nasty. His voice became heavier, ancient, and powerful. The voice of the Titan Lord Kronos. The words scraped down my spine like a knife blade. "Come bow before me." "Yeah, that'll never happen," I muttered. Lynx-Dragonian giants filled in on either side of the swimming pool, as if they'd been waiting for a cue. Each was 8 feet tall, with tattooed arms, leather armor, and spiked clubs. Demigod archers appeared on the roof above Luke. 2 hellhounds leaped down from the opposite balcony and snarled at me. Within seconds, I was surrounded. A trap. There's no way they could have gotten into position so fast, unless they'd known I was coming. I looked up at Luke, and anger boiled inside me. I didn't know if Luke was conscious, was even still alive inside that body. Maybe the way his voice had changed, or maybe it was just Kronos adapting to his new form. I told myself it didn't matter. Luke had been twisted and evil long before Kronos possessed him. A voice inside my head said, I have to fight him eventually. Why not now? Percy, you can really just rock the boat. You can just make the entire boat shake. According to that prophecy, I was supposed to make a choice that saved or destroyed the world when I was 16. That was only 7 days from now. Why not now? If I really had the power, what difference would a week make? Oh, I'm really excited to see what difference a week would make. Dude, a week's probably gonna make a crazy difference. It's about to be the most insane week ever. I could end this threat right here, but by taking down Kronos. Hey, I fought monsters and gods before. As if reading my thoughts, Luke smiled. No, he was Kronos. I had to remember that. Interesting. Come forward, he said, if you dare. The crowd of monsters parted. I moved up the stairs, my heart pounding. I was sure somebody would stab me in the back, but they let me pass. I found my pocket and found my pen waiting. I uncapped it, and Riptide grew into a sword. Kronos' weapon appeared in his hands, a 6-foot-long scythe, half celestial bronze, half mortal steel. But looking at the thing made my knees turn into jello. Before I could change my mind, I charged. Time slowed down. I mean literally slowed down. Because Kronos had that power. It felt like I was moving through syrup. My arms were so heavy I could barely raise my sword. Kronos smiled, swirling his scythe at normal speed, and waiting for me to creep toward my death. I tried to fight his magic. I concentrated on the sea around me, the source of my power. I'd gotten better at channeling it over the years, but now nothing seemed to happen. I took another slow step forward. Giants jeered. Dracane hissed with laughter. Hey, Ocean, I pleaded, and any day now would be good. Suddenly, there was a wrenching pain in my gut. The entire boat lurched sideways, throwing monsters off their feet. 4,000 gallons of seawater surged out of the swimming pool, dousing me and Kronos and everyone on the deck. Come on, Percy, that's what I'm talking about. Do some of that Son of Poseidon shit. The water revitalized me, breaking the time spell. I lunged forward. I struck at Kronos, but I was still too slow. I made the mistake of looking at his face, Luke's face, a guy who was once my friend. As much as I hated him, it was hard to kill him. Kronos had no such hesitation. He sliced down with a scythe. I leaped back, and the evil blade missed by an inch, cutting a gash in the deck right between my feet. I kicked Kronos in the chest. He stumbled backwards, but he was heavier than Luke should have been. It was like kicking a refrigerator. Kronos swung his scythe again. I intercepted with Riptide, but his strike was so powerful, my blade could only deflect it. The edge of the scythe shaved off my shirt sleeve and grazed my arm. It shouldn't have been a serious cut, but the entire side of my body exploded with pain. I remembered what a sea demon had once said about Kronos' scythe. Careful, fool. One touch, and that blade will sever your soul from your body. Now I understood what he meant. I wasn't just losing blood. I could feel my strength, my will, my identity draining away. Damn. Ooh, damn. I stumbled backward, switching my sword to my left hand, and lunged desperately. Are you good with your left hand? My blade should have run him through, but it deflected off his stomach, like I was hitting solid marble. There was no way he should have survived that. Kronos laughed. A poor performance, Percy Jackson. Luke tells me you were never his match at swordplay. My vision started to blur. I knew I didn't have much time. Luke had a big head, I said, but at least it was his head. Ashamed to kill you now, Kronos mused, before the final plan unfolds. I would love to see the terror in your eyes when you realize how I will destroy Olympus. You'll never get this boat to Manhattan. My arm was throbbing. Back spots danced to my vision. And why would that be? Kronos' golden eyes glittered. His face, Luke's face, seemed like a mask, unnatural and lit from behind by some evil power. Perhaps you were counting on your friend with the explosives? Fuck. Shit. No. No. Yes, we are. I was really hoping that would happen. He looked down at the pool and called Nakamura. A teenage guy in full Greek armor pushed the crowd. His left eye was covered with a black patch. I knew him, of course. Ethan Nakamura, the son of Nemesis. I'd saved his life in the labyrinth last summer, and in return, the little punk had helped Kronos come back to life. Bitch. Yes, my lord, Ethan called. We found him, just as we were told. God damn it. Damn it. After Titan's curse, Percy decided that he will never be showed up in his own book again. I know. He literally had to hold up the sky while like the other people fought in the foreground. Like that's exactly what had happened. And also Thalia. Thalia was finessing at every turn. He clapped his hands, and two giants lumbered forward, dragging Charles Beckendorf between them. My heart almost stopped. Beckendorf had a swollen eye and cuts all over his face. Ooh, fuck. His arm was gone, and his shirt was nearly torn off. No, I yelled. Beckendorf met my eyes. He glanced at his hand like he was trying to tell me something. His watch. They hadn't taken it yet. That was a detonator. Was it possible the explosives were armed? Surely the monsters would have dismantled them by now. We found him amidst the ship, one of the giants said, trying to sneak to the engine room. Let's go! Can we eat him now? Soon, Kronos scowled at Ethan. Are you sure he didn't set the explosives? He was going toward the engine room, my lord. How do you know that? Ethan shifted uncomfortably. He was heading in that direction, and he told us. His bag is still full of explosives. Slowly, I began to understand. Beckendorf had fooled them. When he realized he was going to be captured, he turned to make it look like he was going the other way. He'd convinced them that he hadn't made it to the engine room yet. The Greek fire might still be primed, but that didn't do us any good unless we could get off the ship and detonate it. Kronos hesitated. By the story, I prayed. The pain in my arm was so bad, now I could barely stand. Open his bag, Kronos ordered. One of the giants stripped the explosive satchel from Beckendorf's shoulders. He peered inside, grunted, and turned it upside down. Panicked monsters surged backwards. If the bag really had been full of Greek fire jars, we would have all blown up. But what fell out were dozens of cans of peaches. I could hear Kronos breathing, trying to control his anger. Did you perhaps, he said, capture this demigod near the galley? Ethan turned pale. And did you perhaps send someone to actually check the engine room? Ethan scrambled back in terror and then turned on his heels and ran. Percy, rock this ship. Rock this ship so hard, bro. I cursed silently. Now we only had minutes before the bombs were disarmed. I caught Beckendorf's eyes again and asked a silent question, hoping he would understand. How long? He cupped his fingers and thumb, making a circle. 0. There was no delay on the timer at all. If you managed to press the detonator button. Yes, finally someone is smart and doesn't set it like a timer on this shit. If you managed to press the detonator button, the ship would blow at once. We'd never be able to get far enough away before using it. The monsters would kill us first, or disarm the explosives, or both. Kronos turned toward me with a crooked smile. You'll have to excuse my incompetent help, Percy Jackson. But it doesn't matter. We have you now. We've known you were coming for weeks. Who the fuck told you that shit? He held out his hand and dangled a little silver bracelet with the scythe charm, the Titan Lord's symbol. The wound in my arm was sapping my ability to think, but I muttered, communication device. Spy at camp? Kronos chuckled. You can't count on friends. They will always let you down. Luke learned that lesson the hard way. It's probably the Stoll brothers. I'm gonna be honest. Luke learned the lesson the hard way. Now drop your sword and surrender to me, or your friend dies. I swallowed. One of the giants had his hand around Beckendorf's neck. I was in no shape to rescue him, and even if I tried, he would die before I got there. We both would. Beckendorf mouthed one word, go. I shook my head. I couldn't just leave him. The second giant was still rummaging through the peach cans, which meant Beckendorf's left arm was free. He raised it slowly, toward the watch on his right waist. I wanted to scream, no! Then down by the swimming pool, one of the Dracana hissed, what is he doing? What is that on his wrist? Beckendorf closed his eyes tight and brought his hand up to his watch. I had no choice. I threw my sword like a javelin at Kronos. It bounced harmlessly off his chest, but had startled him. I pushed through a crowd of monsters and jumped off the side of the ship, toward the water, 100 feet below. I heard rumbling deep in the ship. Monsters yelled at me from above. A spear sailed past my ear. An arrow pierced my thigh. Dang! But I barely had time to register the pain. I plunged in the sea and willed the currents to take me far, far away. 100 yards, 200 yards, even from that distance. The explosion shook the world. Heat seared the back of my head. The Princess Andromeda blew up from both sides. A massive fireball of green flame, rolling into the dark sky, consuming everything. Beckendorf, I thought. Then I blacked out and sank like an anchor toward the bottom of the sea. What the fuck? What the fuck was that first chapter? What actually was that first chapter, bro? I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand. There's no way Beckendorf's dead. Listen, don't tell me if he's dead or not. I'm going to... This better not be another Bianca. This better not be another Bianca. If Beckendorf dies in the first chapter of The Last Olympian, me and Rick are going to actually fight. He's gonna be like, well, you're 15 years too late. I wrote this book a long time ago, but me and Rick are fighting, bro. If the next Percy Jackson book that comes out after the triple-headed goddess, or whatever the 8th one is called, the 7th one is called, if the next one that comes out isn't called Percy Jackson and the Beckendorf Chronicles, me and Rick are going to fight. That's just the only possible solution. There's no way they actually just killed off Beckendorf in the first chapter of The Last Olympian. There's no way. You gave us that short story to like Beckendorf so much more, making him feel like Percy's big brother, and then you killed him. I refuse. I actually refuse to believe it. His dad is the god of fire. His dad is literally the god of fire. He could have survived that. Who knows? Maybe fire does nothing to him. Percy might not know that. His dad's not the god of fire. How are they going to do the only black man like that? I know! I refuse. I refuse to believe this. Beckendorf is alive and kicking. He's alive and kicking. It's a Tyson situation, bro. Tyson blew up in the Sea of Monsters and he was fine. Obviously he's a Cyclops, he's immune to fire. But like, why would the son of Hephaestus, the god of fire, be killed by fire? It's like Percy being killed by a tidal wave. It just doesn't make any sense. That was a crazy first chapter, though. That was a crazy first chapter. Rick really opened the gate swing with this one. An encounter with Kronos, first chapter, trying to end it before it starts. Dude, what the fuck? That was a great chapter. Man. Man, oh man, oh man. Okay. I'm actually upset. There's no way. There's no actual way he did this shit. Not to me. Alright. On to the next chapter, I guess, where Beckendorf will reveal himself to be alive the whole time. He better. He better, bro. But also, yeah, Percy fell into the sea. Are we gonna see Poseidon's kingdom for the first time? Is that what's about to happen? I thought it would be in his book. Is that what we're gonna see? Like, he sank to the bottom. Like, I wonder if that's what's gonna happen. I'm excited. Okay. I meet some fishy relatives. I really think that's what's gonna happen. They sent Beckendorf to the Great Forge in the sky in chapter 1. After giving us that character development, there's absolutely no fucking way. Bro, if Beckendorf is actually dead, my girl Selena is about to turn the fuck up like you've never seen before. She's about to turn the fuck up like you've never seen in your entire life. And I'm excited for that. If Beckendorf is dead, Selena better have the cleanest, better run the cleanest fade on a monster. She better run the cleanest fade. Like, she doesn't have to beat Kronos or Ethan Nakamura. Actually, she can beat Ethan Nakamura. She doesn't have to beat Kronos, but she better run the cleanest fade on Ethan that I've ever seen in my entire life. I meet some fishy relatives. Chapter 2. Fuck you, Rick Jordan. Demigod's dreams suck. The thing is, fuck, I just dropped the book and then closed it. Hold on. Thing, and then I flipped back to the exact page that I need to be at. I'm the god of books. You love to see it. Demigod's dreams suck. The thing is, they're never just dreams. They've got to be visions, omens, and all the other mystical stuff that makes my brain hurt. Okay, this is all Demigod's dream like this. Okay, cool. That makes me like Percy's dreams a lot more. I dreamed I was in a dark place at the top of a mountain. Unfortunately, I recognized it. The Palace of the Titans on top of Mount Othrys, otherwise known as Mount Tamalpais in California. The main pavilion was open to the night, ringed with black Greek columns and statues of the Titans. Torchlight glowed against the black marble floor. In the center of the room, an armored giant struggled under the weight of a swirling funnel cloud. Atlas, holding up the sky. Wait, what? Torchlight glowed against the black marble floor at the center of the room. Okay, cool. 2 other giant men stood nearby over a bronze brazier, studying images in the flames. Quite an explosion, one said. You saw that shit? He wore black armor, studded with silver dots like a starry night. His face was covered in a war helm, with a ram's horn curling on either side. It doesn't matter, the other said. This titan was dressed in gold robes, with golden eyes like Kronos. His entire body glowed. He reminded me of Apollo, the god of the sun, except the titan's light was harsher. His expression was crueler. The gods have answered the challenge. Soon they will be destroyed. The images in the fire were hard to make out. Storms, buildings crumbling, mortals screaming in terror. I will go east to marshal our forces, the Golden Titan said. Krios, you shall remain and guard Mount Orthrus. The ram-horn dude grunted. I always get this stupid jobs. Lord of the South, Lord of Constellations. Now I get to babysit Atlas while you have all the fun. Interesting. Lord of the South, Lord of Constellations. Under the whirlwind of clouds, Atlas bellowed in agony. Let me out! Curse you! I am your greatest warrior! Take my burden so I may fight! Quiet, the Golden Titan roared. You had your chance, Atlas. You failed. Kronos likes you just where you are. As for you, Krios, do your duty. And if you need more warriors, Krios asked, our treacherous nephew in the tuxedo will not do you much good in a fight. Who is the treacherous nephew? Zeus? I think it's Zeus. The Golden Titan laughed. Don't worry about him. Besides, the gods can barely handle our first little challenge. They have no idea how many others we have in store. Mark my words. In a few days' time, Olympus will be in ruins, and we will meet here again to celebrate the dawn of the 6th age. The Golden Titan erupted into flames and disappeared. Oh sure, Krios grumbled. He gets to erupt into flames. I get to wear these stupid ram's horns. That's so fucking meta. That's such a meta thing to say. The scene shifted, and I was outside the pavilion, hiding in the shadows of the Greek column. A boy stood next to me, eavesdropping on the Titans. He had dark, silky hair. Every time they say a boy, I always think it's Nico. Dark, silky hair, pale skin, the dark clothes. My friend Nico D'Angelo. That's what I'm Hades. Let's freaking go. Let's go. He looked straight at me, his expression grim. You see, Percy? He whispered. You're running out of time. Do you really think you can beat them without my plan? What's Nico's plan? Put that shit into action, bro. His words washed over me as cold as the ocean floor. My dreams went black. Percy, a deep voice said. My heart felt like it had been microwaved in an aluminum foil. I opened my eyes and saw a large, shadowy figure looming over me. Beckendorf? I asked hopefully. Fuck. No, brother. My eyes focused. I was looking at a cyclops, a misshapen face, ratty brown hair, and one big brown eye full of concern. Tyson. I love Tyson, but come on. It could have been Beckendorf, though. My brother broke into a toothy grin. Yay, your brain works! I wasn't so sure. My body felt weightless and cold. My voice sounded wrong. I could hear Tyson, but it was more like I was hearing vibrations inside my skull, not the regular sounds. I sat up, and a gossamer sheet floated away. I was on a bed made of silky woven kelp in a room paneled with abalone shell. Glowing pearls the size of basketballs floated around the ceiling, providing light. I was underwater. Now being the son of Poseidon and all, I was okay with this. I can breathe underwater just fine, and my clothes don't even get wet unless I want them to. But it was still a bit of a shock when a hammerhead shark drifted through the bedroom window, regarded me, and then swam calmly out the opposite side of my room. They really talking shit about Atlas while he's in the same room. He can't do anything. I'd be talking shit too. He has to sit there and hold up the sky like a bitch. Where? Daddy's palace. Yep, Tyson said. Under different circumstances, I would have been excited. I never visited Poseidon's realm. and I'd been dreaming about it for years, but my head hurt. My shirt was still speckled with burn marks from the explosion. My arm and legs... My arm and leg wounds had healed. Just being in the ocean can do that for me. Given enough time. But I felt like I'd been trampled by a Lynx Dragonian soccer team in cleats. How long? We found you last night, Tyson said, sinking through the water. The Princess Andromeda? Went kaboom, Tyson confirmed. Beckendorf was on board. Did you find... Tyson's face darkened. No sign of him. I am sorry, brother. He has to be alive. He has to be. I refuse to think he's dead. He's definitely alive. I stared out the window into deep blue water. Beckendorf was supposed to go to college in the fall. He had a girlfriend, lots of friends, his whole life ahead of him. He couldn't be gone. Maybe he'd made it off the ship. Yeah, please. Like I had. Maybe he jumped over the side. And what? He couldn't have survived a 100-foot fall into the water like I could. He couldn't have put enough distance between him and the explosion. I knew in my gut he was dead. Son of fire, not being hurt by fire. Does that ring any bells? Is that come on, please. I knew in my gut. Come on, don't say this. Don't talk like this to me. I knew in my gut he was dead. He'd sacrificed himself to take out the Princess Andromeda, and I had abandoned him. No, Percy. There's so many things Percy could have done. There's so, like, he could have rocked the boat. He could have rocked the boat. He could have used the water that was already on the boat to throw the person who was holding Beckendorf. Like, there were so many things he could have done. I thought about my dream. Titan discussing the explosion as if it didn't matter. Nico D'Angelo warning me that I would never beat Kronos without following his plan. A dangerous idea I've been avoiding for more than a year. A distant blast shook the room. Green light blazed outside, turning the whole sea as bright as noon. What was that? I asked. Tyson was worried. Daddy will explain. Come, he's blowing up monsters. Let's go. The palace might have been the most amazing place I'd ever seen, if it hadn't been in the process of getting destroyed. He swam to the end of the long hallway and shot upward on a geyser. As he rose over the rooftops, I caught my breath. My breath. Well, if you can catch your breath underwater. The place was as big as a city on Mount Olympus, with wide courtyard gardens and calm pavilions. The gardens were sculpted with coral colonies and glowing sea plants. 20 or 30 buildings were made of abalone, with abalone white but gleaming with rainbow colors. Fish and octopi darted in and out of the windows. The paths were lined with glowing pearls like Christmas lights. The main courtyard was filled with warriors, mermen with fish tails from the waist down and human bodies from the waist up, except their skin was blue, which I'd never known before. Some were tending the wounded. Some were sharpening spears and swords. One passed swimming in a hurry. His eyes were bright green, like that stuff they put in glow sticks, and his teeth were shark teeth. They don't show you stuff like that in The Little Mermaid. Outside the main courtyard stood large fortification towers, walls, and anti-siege weapons, but most of these had been smashed to ruins. Others were blazing with a strange green light that I knew well, Greek fire, which can burn even underwater. Beyond this, the seafloor stretched into gloom. I could see battles raging. Flashes of energy, explosives, the glint of armies clashing. A regular human would have found it too dark to see. Heck, a regular human would have been crushed under the pressure and frozen by the cold. Even my heat-sensitive eyes couldn't make out exactly what was going on. At the edge of the palace complex, a temple with a red coral roof exploded, sending fire and debris streaming in slow motion across the farthest gardens out of the darkness above. An enormous form appeared. A squid, larger than any skyscraper. It was the Kraken. It was surrounded by a glittering cloud of dust. At least I thought it was dust, until I realized it was a swarm of mermen trying to attack the monster. The squid descended on the palace and swatted its tentacles, smashing a whole column of warriors. Then a brilliant arc of blue light shot from the rooftop of one of the tallest buildings. The light hit the giant squid, and the monster dissolved like food coloring in water. "Daddy," Tyson said, pointing to where the light had come from. "He did that?" I suddenly felt more hopeful. My dad had unbelievable powers. He was the god of the sea. He could deal with this attack, right? Maybe he'd let me help. Have you been in a fight? I asked Tyson in awe. Like bashing heads with your awesome Cyclops strength and stuff? Tyson pouted, and immediately I knew I'd asked a bad question. I have been fixing weapons, he mumbled. Come, let's go find Daddy. I know this might sound weird to people with like regular parents, but I'd only seen my dad 4 or 5 times in my life, and never for more than a few minutes. The Greek gods don't exactly show up for their kids' basketball games. Still, I thought I would recognize Poseidon on sight. I was wrong. What? Wait, hold on. 4 or 5 times. You saw him at your birthday party last year. You saw him at Olympus. You saw him at Olympus the first time. Where was the other time? When was the other time you'd seen him? You only seen him 3 times. He was weak from the scythe sapping his soul. Yeah, that's true. He was weak. But still, I don't give a shit. If you think about it, if I had Percy's powers, I would just explore the ocean just to see what's out there. This is true. I'd be like, Mom, I'm going to the ocean now. And she can't really be like, oh, it's too dangerous. Because like, I'm literally the prince of that shit. Like, the sea animals bow down to me. The ocean bows down to me. Like, there's like not really nowhere you can go. Except for the Sea of Monsters, it's gonna be like difficult for him to traverse. But he's always seen Poseidon 3 times. So what are you talking about this? What is this 4 or 5 times nonsense? The roof of the temple was a big open deck that had been set up as a command center. The mosaic on the floor showed an exact map on the palace grounds. And the surrounding ocean, but the mosaic moved. Colored stone tiles representing the different armies and sea monsters shifted around as the forces changed. Buildings that collapsed in real life also collapsed in the picture. Standing around the mosaic, grimly studying the battle, was a strange assortment of warriors, but none of them looked like my dad. I was searching for a big guy with a good tan and a black beard, wearing Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. There was nobody like that. One guy was a merman with 2 fish tails instead of 1. His skin was green, his armor studded with pearls, his black hair was tied in a ponytail, and he looked young. But it's hard to tell with non-humans. They could be 1,000 years old or 3. Standing next to him was an old man with a bushy white beard and gray hair. His battle armor seemed to weigh him down. He had green eyes and smile wrinkles around his eyes. But he wasn't smiling now. He was studying the map and leaning on a large metal staff to his right. Stood a beautiful woman in green armor with flowing black hair and strange little horns like crab claws. And there was a dolphin, just a regular dolphin, but it was staring at the map intently. Delphin, the old man said. Palemon and his legion of sharks to the western front. We have to neutralize those leviathans. The dolphin spoke in a chattering voice, but I could understand it in my mind. Yes, Lord, it sped away. Wait, Percy, I thought you could only understand horses. Never mind, whatever. I looked in dismay at Tyson and back at my old man. It didn't seem possible, but... Dad? I asked. The old man looked up. I recognized the twinkle in his eyes. But his face, he looked like he aged 40 years. Hello, Percy. What happened to you? Tyson nudged. He was shaking his head so hard. I was afraid it would fall off, but Poseidon didn't look offended. It's all right, Tyson said. Percy, excuse my appearance. The war has been hard on me. But you're immortal, I said quietly. You can look any way you want. I reflect the state of my realm, he said. And right now, the state is quite grim. Percy, I should introduce you, I'm afraid. You just missed my Lieutenant Delphin, god of the dolphins. This is my, wife. That's awkward. My, wife. Amphitrite. My dear. Dang, that's awkward. The lady in green armor stared at me coldly, then crossed her arms and said, Excuse me, my lord. I am needed in the battle. She swam away. I felt pretty awkward, but I guess I couldn't blame her. I never thought about it much. My dad had an immortal wife. All his romances with immortals, including with my mom. Well, Amphitrite probably didn't like that much. Poseidon cleared his throat. Yes, well, this is my son, Triton. My other son. Your son and heir, the green dude corrected. His double fishtail swished back and forth. He smiled at me. There was no friendliness in his eyes. Hello, Perseus Jackson. Come to help at last. He acted like I was late or lazy. If you can blush underwater, I probably did. Hold on. Okay, ignoring that. Tell me what to do, I said. Triton smiled like that was a cute suggestion, like I was a slightly amusing dog that had barked for him or something. He turned to Poseidon. I will see to the front line, father. Don't worry, I will not fail. He nodded politely to Tyson. How come I didn't get that much respect? Then he shot off into the water. Poseidon sighed. He raised his staff, probably because Poseidon called you his favorite son. He raised his staff, and it changed into a regular weapon. A huge three-pointed trident. The tips glowed with blue light, and the water around it boiled with energy. I'm sorry about that, he told me. A huge sea serpent appeared from above us and spiraled down toward the roof. It was bright orange with a fanged mouth big enough to swallow a gymnasium. Hardly looking up, Poseidon pointed his trident at the beast and zapped it with blue energy. Kaboom! Damn, Poseidon. The monster burst into a million goldfish, which all swam off in terror. My family is anxious, Poseidon continued, as if nothing had happened. The battle against Oceanus is going poorly. He pointed at the edge of the mosaic. With the butt of his trident, he tapped the image of a merman larger than the rest, with the horns of a bull. He appeared to be riding a chariot pulled by a crawfish. Instead of a sword, he wielded a live serpent. Oceanus, I said, trying to remember the titan of the sea. Poseidon nodded. He was neutral in the first war of the gods and titans, but Kronos has convinced him to fight. This is, well, it's not a good sign. Oceanus would not commit unless he was sure he could pick the winning side. Also, I know a lot of people, or some people, want Logan Lerman to play Triton. They wanted him to play Poseidon originally, but that didn't happen. The thing they wanted to play Triton in Percy Jackson as well, because they want the original cast to have roles, and I agree. I think they should bring back the original cast, even though Rick Riordan hates them for actually no reason. Like, a lot of people want Logan Lerman to play Triton. They want Brandon T. Jackson, the guy who played Grover, to play Pan. I haven't heard anything for Alexander Daddario, but I think it would be cool if they did. In the lightning, what's it? What is it? Yeah. Once when he was a baby, once in the Lightning Thief, once in the Titan's Curse, and once during his 14th birthday. And the Lightning Thief, Percy says he faintly remembers his dad's face, despite sadly claiming his dad has never seen him. Yeah, but wasn't that like bullshit? Didn't Percy say that was bullshit? Like that he was like not, that he made that shit up? Like that was fake? Because I mean, I guess you can still believe it, but like I don't know. I think Percy basically said that was BS, which is why I didn't include it. He looks stupid, I said, trying to sound upbeat. I mean, who fights with a snake? Daddy will tie it to knots, Tyson said firmly. Poseidon smiled, but he looked weary. I appreciate your faith. We have been at war almost a year now. My powers are taxed, and still he finds new forces to throw at me. Sea monsters so ancient I had forgotten about them. I heard an explosion in the distance, about half a mile away. A mountain of coral disintegrated under the weight of the two giant creatures. I could dimly make out their shapes. One was a lobster, the other was a giant humanoid, like a cyclops, but he was surrounded by a flurry of limbs. At first, I thought he was wearing a bunch of giant octopi, but I realized they were his own arms. 100 flailing, fighting arms. Briareus? I said. I was happy to see him, but it looked like he was fighting for his life. He was the last of his kind, a 100-handed one, cousin of the Cyclops. We saved him from Kronos' prison last summer, and I knew he'd come to help. He'd come to help Poseidon, but I hadn't heard of him since. He fights well, Poseidon said. I wish we had a whole army like him, but he is the only one. Okay, ignoring that too, I guess. I thought he said that when he finally met his dad, his smile was the same as he remembered as a baby. Maybe he said something like that. I don't know. I guess we can count that. I don't really remember. I think he did. He might have said something like that. I watched as Briareus bellowed in rage and picked up the lobster, which thrashed and snapped its pincers. He threw it off the coral mountain, and the lobster disappeared into the darkness. Briareus swam after it, his 100 arms spinning like blades of a motorboat. Percy, we may not have much time, my dad said. Tell me of your mission. Did you see Kronos? I told him everything, though my voice choked up when I explained about Beckendorf. I looked down at the courtyards below and saw hundreds of wounded mermen lying on a makeshift cots. I saw rows of coral mounds that must have been hastily made graves. I realized Beckendorf wasn't the first death. Damn it! Quit saying this. Quit saying this to me. He was only one of hundreds, maybe thousands. I never felt so angry and helpless. Poseidon stroked his beard. Percy. Beckendorf, fuck you. Don't confirm this. Beckendorf was a heroic death. You bear no blame for that. Kronos' army will be in disarray. Many were destroyed. But we didn't kill him, did we? As I said it, I knew it was a naive hope. We might blow up a ship and disintegrate his monsters, but a Titan Lord wouldn't be so easy to kill. No, Poseidon admitted, but you brought our side some time. There were demigods on that ship, I said, thinking of the kid I'd seen in the stairwell. Somehow, I'd allowed myself to concentrate on the monsters in Kronos. I'd convinced myself that destroying their ship was alright because they were evil, and they were sailing to attack my city. And besides, they couldn't really be permanently killed. Monsters just vaporized and reformed eventually. But demigods. Poseidon put his hands on my shoulder. Percy, there were only a few demigod warriors aboard that ship, and they all chose to battle for Kronos. Perhaps some heeded your warning and escaped. If they did not, they chose their path. True, they were gonna die anyways. Also, if Ethan Nakamura is alive, but Beckendorf is not, me and Rick are running a fade. We are running a fade. That's just what's happening. They were brainwashed, I said. Now they're dead, and Kronos is still alive. That's supposed to make me feel better? I go to the mosaic, little tile explosions, destroying tile monsters. It seemed so easy when it was just a picture. Tyson put his arms around me. If anybody else had tried that, I would have pushed away. But Tyson was too big and stubborn. He had me whether I wanted it or not. Not your fault, brother. Kronos does not explode good. Next time, we will use a big stick. That'll do it. Percy, our father said. Beckendorf's sacrifice wasn't in vain. You have scattered the invasion force. New York will be safe for a time, which frees the other Olympians to deal with a bigger threat. The bigger threat? I thought about what Golden Titan had said in my dreams. The gods have answered the challenge. Soon they will be destroyed. A shadow passed over my father's face. You had enough sorrow for one day. Ask Chiron when you return to camp. Return to camp? But you're in trouble here. I want to help. You can't, Percy. Your job is elsewhere. I couldn't believe I was hearing this. I looked at Tyson for backup. What is this? Okay, ignoring that. And Tyson right. My brother chewed his lip. Daddy, Percy can fight with a sword. He is good. I know that, Poseidon said gently. Dad, I can help. I know I can. You're not going to hold out here much longer. A fireball launched from the sky from behind the enemy. From behind the enemy lines. I thought Poseidon would deflect it or something, but it landed on the outer corner of the yard and exploded, sending mermen tumbling through the water. Poseidon winced as if he'd just been stabbed. Return to camp, he insisted, and tell Chiron it is time. For what? You must hear the prophecy. The entire prophecy. Let's freaking go. I didn't need to ask him which prophecy. I'd been hearing about the great prophecy for years, but nobody would ever tell me the whole thing. All I knew was that I was supposed to make a decision. I would decide the fate of the world, but no pressure. What if this is the decision? I said. Staying here to fight or leaving. What if I leave you and I couldn't say die? Gods weren't supposed to die, but I'd seen it happen. Even if they didn't die, they could be reduced to nearly nothing. Exiled and imprisoned in the depths of Tartarus like Kronos had been. Percy, you must go, Poseidon insisted. I don't know what your final decision will be, but your fight lies in the world above. If nothing else, you must warn your friends at camp. Kronos knew your plans. You have a spy. We will hold here. We have no choice. Tyson gripped my hand desperately. I will miss you, brother. Watching us, our father seemed to age another 10 years. Tyson, you have work to do as well, my son. They need you in the armory. Dang. Tyson pouted some more. I will go, he sniffled. He hugged me so hard he almost cracked my ribs. Percy, be careful. Do not let the monsters kill you dead. I tried to nod confidently, but it was too much for the big guy. He sobbed and swam away toward the armory, where his cousins are fixing spears and swords. You should let him fight, I told my father. He hates being stuck in the armory, can't you tell? Poseidon shook his head. It is bad enough. I must send you into danger. Tyson is too young. I must protect him. You should trust him, I said. And then I tried to protect him. Poseidon's eyes flared. I thought I'd gone too far, but then he looked down at the mosaic, and his shoulders sagged. On the tiles, the mermaid guy in the crawfish chariot was coming closer to the palace. Oceanus approaches, my father said. I must meet him in battle. I'd never been scared for a god before, but I didn't see how my dad could face this titan and win. I will hold, Poseidon promised. I will not give up my domain. Just tell me, Percy, do you still have the birthday gift I gave you last summer? I nodded and pulled out my camp necklace, and on a bead for every summer I've been at Camp Half-Blood. But since last year, I'd also kept a sand dollar on the cord. My father had given it to me for my 15th birthday. He told me I would know when to spend it. But so far, I hadn't figured out what he meant. All I knew was that it didn't fit the vending machine in the school cafeteria. The time is coming, he promised. With luck, I will see you for your birthday next week, and we will have a proper celebration. He smiled, and for a moment, I saw the old light in his eyes. Then the entire sea grew darker in front of us, like an inky storm was rolling in. Thunder crackled, which should have been impossible underwater. A huge icy presence was approaching. I sensed a wave of fear roll through the armies below us. I must assume my true godly form, Percy, Poseidon said. Go, and good luck, my son. I really hope we get to see those. I wanted to encourage him, to hug him or something, but knew better than to stick around. When God assumes his true form, the power is so great that any mortal looking on him will disintegrate. Goodbye, father, I managed. Then I turned away. I willed the ocean currents to aid me. Water swirled around me and shot toward the surface at speeds that would have caused any mortal to pop like a balloon. When I looked back, all I could see were flashes of the green and blue as my father fought the Titan, and the sea itself was torn apart by the two armies. That's so fucking epic, bro. That's so epic. That's so epic. The sea itself was torn apart by the two armies. I want to see that fight so bad. That's so cool, dude. That's so freaking sick. Alright. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, though. I know I said I would read 5 chapters, but chapter 3 might be the last one. Just depending on how it is. Because some shit is popping up. Some shit is happening. And to get, if that doesn't end up being the last one, on probably, what's today? Ooh, yeah, I can stream tomorrow. Tomorrow I can finish it up and read some more. But we'll see. We'll see what actually happens. Who knows? What is it? It really does make me sad how badly Percy wants to help, and people like Percy's half brother think he is lazy or doesn't care when he is getting benched until the end game. Yeah. Hilarious how Percy receives his first birthday present from his father and is told to spend it wisely. Percy thinks maybe I can buy some chips with this. He's only, it's cafeteria. He was like, it is time. And then it just didn't. It just didn't. That's fucking funny. Hold on. Ooh. Go. Yep, I'm not gonna lie, this might be the last one, but I'll return tomorrow, read out the other 2 chapters, and then we'll be back on track with 5 a day, because I hopefully will have nothing to do on Friday. So yeah, that could be a thing. So yeah, this might be the last one. But so far, it's like they're really priming the epicness of this. Like they're really trying to build up like how big of it, like, bro, like first chapter. I repeated the goat. Beckendorf dies. Why would you do that? He dies. And then we fight Kronos, and it's like, yeah, he's a big deal still. Just in case you forgot, he's still a big deal. And then we see Poseidon in the second chapter, and then Poseidon's like, oh yeah, shit's happening. I'm fighting for the fate of the entire ocean right now, and I'm losing. Like, that's crazy, dude. And Percy's trying to help everybody. Everybody's like, you gotta go. You gotta keep going. He has to survive until the prophecy. Like, that's like what has to happen. And if that's like the theme that happens in this book, I'm gonna like be losing my shit, because that's really fucking sad. To see Percy like have other people constantly protect him, and like and shit like that. For him to only have to wait till the time when he's 16, like, that's crazy. That'd be wild. Yeah, they are getting all the setup out of the way before shit hits the fan. Shit is about to hit the fan. Are we about to learn the prophecy next chapter? If we're about to learn the prophecy, I'm going to be so ecstatic about that. I really hope we do. I really hope we do. But alright. Still not too much to talk about, obviously. It's just like, the first two chapters have been like, fuck. That's what it's basically been like, what's happening. Setting up the stakes, which is good. This is actually really good. And this is the first book that I'm reading all with you guys, so I have less to talk about. We'll have more to talk about as the story goes on, obviously, but right now it's like we're sitting here being like, what's even going on? Anyways, chapter 3. I get a sneak peek at my death, which is probably the freaking, what's it called? What am I thinking about? The prophecy chapter. If you want to be popular at Camp Half-Blood, don't come back from mission with bad news. Ugh. Word of my arrival spread, and as soon as I walked out of the ocean, our beach is on the north shore of Long Island, and it's enchanted, so most people can't even see it. People don't just appear on the beach unless they're demigods or gods or really, really lost pizza delivery guys. It's happened, but that's another story. Anyway, that afternoon, the lookout on duty was Connor Stoll from Hermes' cabin. When he spotted me, he got so excited he fell out of his tree. Then he blew the conch horn to signal the camp and ran to greet me. Connor had a crooked smile that matched his crooked sense of humor. He's a pretty nice guy. You should always keep one hand on your wallet when he's around, and do not, under any circumstances, give him access to shaving cream unless you want to find your sleeping bag full of it. You love to see. The Stoll brothers are the Weasley brothers, and I love it. He's got curly brown hair and is a little shorter than his brother Travis, which is the only way I can tell them apart. They are both so unlike my old enemy Luke, it's hard to believe they're all sons of Hermes. Percy! He yelled. What happened? Where's Beckendorf? And he saw my expression, and his smile melted. Oh no. Poor Selena. Holy Zeus when she finds out. I'm actually dreading that. I am dreading seeing Selena find out. That's gonna be terrible. Together we climbed the sand dunes. A few hundred yards away, people were already streaming toward us, smiling and excited. Percy's back! They're probably thinking, he saved the day! Maybe he brought souvenirs! I stopped at the dining pavilion and waited for them. No sense rushing down there to tell them what a loser I was. I gazed across the valley and tried to remember how Camp Half-Blood looked the first time I ever saw it. It seemed like a bajillion years ago. The dining pavilion, you could see pretty much everything. Hills ring the valley. On the tallest Half-Blood hill, Valley's pine tree stood with the golden fleece, hanging from its branches, magically protecting the camp from its enemies. The guardian dragon, Peleus, was so big. Hold on. Okay. The guardian dragon, Peleus, was so big now I could see him from here. Crawled around the tree trunk, sending up smoke signals as he snored. To my right, spread the woods. To my left, the canoe lake, and glittering, and the climbing wall glowed from lava pouring down its side. 12 cabins, one for each Olympian god, made a horseshoe pattern around the commons area. Farther south were the strawberry fields, the armory, and the 4-story big house with its sky blue pattern and its bronze eagle weather vane. In some ways, the camp hadn't changed, but you couldn't see the war by looking at the buildings or the fields. You could see it in the faces of the demigods and the satyrs and the naiads coming up the hill. Damn, that's a crazy line. You couldn't see it in the architecture. You could see it in their faces. There weren't as many at camp as 4 summers ago. Some had left and never come back. Some had died fighting. Others we tried not to talk about had gone over to the enemy. The others were still here. Were battle hardened and weary. There was laughter at camp. There was little laughter at camp these days. Even the Hermes cabin didn't play so many pranks. It's hard to enjoy practical jokes when your whole life feels like one. Chiron galloped in the pavilion first, which was easier for him since he's a white stallion from the waist down. His beard had grown wild over the summer. He wore a green t-shirt and said, "My other car is a centaur." and a bow slung over his back. "Percy," he said. "Thank the gods." "But where?" Annabeth ran right behind him. And I'll admit, my heart did a little relay race in my chest when I saw her. It's not that she tried to look good. It's not that she tried to look good. We've been doing so many combat missions lately, she'd hardly brushed her curly blonde hair anymore, and she didn't care what clothes she was wearing. Usually the same old orange Camp Half-Blood t-shirt and jeans, and once in a while, her bronze armor. Her eyes were stormy gray. Most of the time, we couldn't get through a conversation without trying to strangle each other. Still, just seeing her made me feel fuzzy in the head. Last summer, before Luca turned into Kronos, and everything went sour. There have been a few times when I thought maybe, well, that we might get past the strangle each other phase. "What happened?" She grabbed my arm. "Is Luke?" "The ship blew up," I said. "He wasn't destroyed. I don't know where." Selena Beauregard pushed through the crowd. "No! No, don't do this to me!" For Percy, someone who would sacrifice everything for his friends, having people die to protect him is worse to him than dying himself. That's true. That is really true. Selena Beauregard pushed through the crowd. Her hair wasn't combed, and she wasn't even wearing makeup, which wasn't like her. "Where's Charlie?" she demanded, looking around like he might be hiding. I glanced at Chiron helplessly. The old centaur cleared his throat. "Selena, my dear, let's talk about this at the big house." "No," she muttered. No. She started to cry, and the rest of us stood around too stunned to speak. We had already lost so many people over the summer. This was the worst. With Beckendorf gone, it felt like someone had stolen the anchor for the entire camp. Finally, Clarice from Ares' cabin came forward. She put her arm around Selena. They had one of the strangest friendships ever. A daughter of the war god and a daughter of the love goddess. Makes sense, their parents love each other. But ever since Selena had given Clarice advice last summer about her first boyfriend, Clarice had decided she was Selena's personal bodyguard. Clarice was dressed in her blood-red combat armor, her brown hair tucked into a bandana. She was as big and beefy as a rugby player, with a permanent scowl on her face. But she spoke gently to Selena. "Come on, girl," she said. "Let's get to the big house. I'll make you some hot chocolate." My nose is super itchy, and this is really fucking sad. Everybody turned and wandered off in twos and threes. My nose is itchy. Can it stop doing that? Heading back to the cabins, nobody was excited to see me. Now. Nobody wanted to hear about the blown up ship. Only Annabeth and Chiron stayed behind. Whereas Grover. Annabeth wiped a tear from her cheek. "I'm glad you're not dead, Seaweed Brain." "Thanks," I said. "Me too." Chiron put a hand on my shoulder. "I'm sure you did everything you could, Percy. Can you tell us what happened?" I didn't want to go through it again. I told them the story, including my dream about the Titans. I left out the detail about Nico. Nico had made me promise not to tell anybody about his plan, until I made up my mind. And the plan was so scary, I didn't mind keeping it a secret. What is this plan? What is this plan? Chiron gazed down at the alley. "You must call a war council immediately to discuss this spy and other matters." Poseidon mentioned another threat, I said. Something even bigger than the Princess Andromeda. I thought it might be the challenge that challenge the Titan had mentioned in my dream. Chiron and Annabeth exchanged looks, like they knew something I didn't. I hated when they did that. We will discuss that also. Chiron promised. One more thing. I took a deep breath. When I talked to my father, he said to tell you it's time. I need to know the full prophecy. Let's go! Chiron's shoulders sagged, but he didn't look surprised. I've dreaded this day. Very well. Annabeth, we will show Percy the truth. All of it. Let's go to the attic. Let's go. Prophecy time, baby. Prophecy time. I've been to the big house attic 3 times before, which is 3 times more than I wanted to. A ladder led up from the top of the staircase. I wondered how Chiron was going to get up there, being half horse and all, but he didn't try. You know where it is, he told Annabeth. Bring it down, please. You're bringing the thing? She's gonna bring the oracle down? Annabeth nodded. Come on, Percy. The sun was setting outside, so the attic was even darker and creepier than usual. Old hero trophies were stacked everywhere. Dented shields, pickled heads in jars of various monsters, a pair of fuzzy dice on a bronze plaque that read, stolen from Chrysaor's Honda Civic by Gus, son of Hermes, 1988. Let's go. I picked up a curved bronze sword. So badly. A curved bronze sword, badly bent. So badly bent, it looked like the letter M. Dang. I could still see green stains on the metal from the magical poison that used to cover it. The tag was dated last summer. It read, Scimitar of Campe, destroying the Battle of the Labyrinth. That's so cool. You remember Briareus throwing those boulders, I asked? Annabeth gave me a grudging smile, and Grover causing a panic. Ooh, Grover's freaking conquerors hockey, bro. We locked eyes. I thought of a different time, last summer. Under mountain helms, when Annabeth thought I was going to die, and she kissed me. Rachel did it too! Rachel kissed you too, let's not forget. She cleared her throat and looked away. Prophecy, right. I put on the scimitar. Prophecy. He walked over to the window. On a 3-legged stool sat the oracle. A shriveled female mummy in a tie-dyed dress. Tufts of black hair clung to her skull. Glassy eyes stared out of her leathery face. Just looking at her made my skin crawl. If you wanted to leave camp during the summer, it used to be you had to come up here to get a quest. This summer, that rule had been tossed. Campers lived all the time on combat missions. We had no choice if we wanted to stop Kronos. Still, I remember too well the strange green mist, the spirit of the oracle that lived inside the mummy. She looked lifeless now, but whenever she spoke a prophecy, she moved. Sometimes fog gushed out of her mouth and created strange shapes. Once she'd even left the attic and taken a little zombie stroll into the woods to deliver a message. I wasn't sure what she'd do for the great prophecy. I have it for her to start tap dancing or something. Or she just sat there like she was dead. Which she was. I never understood this, I whispered. What? Annabeth asked. Why it's a mummy. Percy, she didn't used to be a mummy. For thousands of years, the spirit of the oracle lived inside a beautiful maiden. The spirit will be passed on from generation to generation. Chiron told me she was like that 50 years ago. Annabeth pointed out the mummy, but she was the last. What happened? Annabeth started to say something, and she apparently changed her mind. Let's just do our job and get out of here. I looked nervously at the oracle's withered face. So what now? Annabeth approached the mummy and held out her palms. O oracle, the time is at hand. I asked for the great prophecy. I braced myself, but the mummy didn't move. Instead, Annabeth approached and unclasped one of its necklaces. I never paid too much attention to its jewelry before. I figured it was just hippie love beads and stuff. But when Annabeth turned toward me, she was holding a leather pouch, like a Native American medicine pouch. Jesus Christ. On a cord braided with feathers. She opened the bag and took out a roll of parchment, no bigger than her pinky. No way, I said. You mean all these years I've been asking about this stupid prophecy, and it's right here around her neck? The time wasn't right, Annabeth said. Believe me, Percy, I read this when I was 10 years old, and I still have nightmares about it. Great, I said. Can I read it now? Downstairs at the War Council, Annabeth said. Not in front of, I looked at the glassy eyes of the oracle and decided not to argue. Why not? We headed downstairs to join the others. I didn't know it then, but it would be the last time I ever visited the attic. Ever? Ever with a capital E? He never visits the attic again, even in like Heroes of Olympus or some shit? Like, what the fuck? Imagine walking around for years knowing you have a prophecy about your potential death and nobody would tell you it. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, la-di-da, what the fuck? Like, I guess my life is time till I'm 16. Like, that's what I would be thinking. Aphrodite is still hitting Percy with road rollers, clearly. Aphrodite was sitting there watching them. She's like, how cute. Now kiss. Like, she was like, she really did that shit. The senior counselors had gathered around the ping pong table. Don't ask me why. The rec room had become the camp's informal headquarters for war councils. When Annabeth, Chiron, and I came in, though it looked more like a shouting match, Clarice was still in full battle gear. Her electric spear was strapped to her back. Actually, her second electric spear, since I'd broken the first one, she called the spear Maimer. Behind her back, everybody else called it Lamer. That's funny. She had her boar-shaped helmet under one arm and a knife at her belt. She was in the midst of yelling at Michael Yu, the new head counselor for Apollo, which looked kind of funny since Clarice was a foot taller. Michael had taken over the Apollo cabin after Lee Fletcher died in battle last summer. Rest in peace to the goat, Lee. Michael stood 4'6". Damn, Michael. With another 2 feet of attitude. He reminded me of a ferret with a pointy nose and a scrunched up features, either because he scowled so much or because he spent too much time looking down the shaft of an arrow. It's our loot, he yelled, staying on his tiptoes so he could get in Clarice's face. If you don't like it, you can kiss my quiver. Around the table, people were trying not to laugh. The Stoll brothers, Paul from Dionysus' cabin, Katie Gardner from Demeter, even Jake Mason. Who the fuck is Jake Mason? The hastily appointed new counselor for Mephistus managed a faint smile. Okay. Only Selena Beauregard didn't pay any attention. She sat beside Clarice, stared vacantly at the ping pong net. Her eyes were red and puffy. A cup of hot chocolate sat untouched in front of her. It seemed unfair that she had to be here. I couldn't believe Clarice and Michael standing over her, arguing about something so as stupid as loot, when she just lost Beckendorf. Stop it! I yelled. What are you guys doing? Clarice glared at me. Tell Michael not to be a selfish jerk. Oh, that's perfect coming from you, Michael said. The only reason I'm here is to support Selena, Clarice shouted. Otherwise, I'd be back in my cabin. What are you talking about? I demanded. Paul cleared his throat. Clarice has refused to speak to any of us until her issue is resolved. She hasn't spoken for 3 days. It's been wonderful, Travis Stoll said wistfully. What issue? I asked. Clarice turned to Chiron. You're in danger. You're in charge, right? Does my cabin get what we want or not? Chiron shuffled his hoofs. My dear, as I've already explained, Michael's correct. Apollo cabin has the best claim. Besides, we have more important matters. Sure, Clarice snapped. Always more important matters than what Ares needs. We're just supposed to show up and fight when you need us and knock a play. That'd be nice. Gardner still muttered. Clarice gripped her knife. Maybe I should ask Mr. D. Okay, shit. As you know, Karen interrupted, his tone slightly angry now, our director Dionysus is busy with the war. He can't be bothered with this. I see, Clarice said. And the senior counselors are any of you going to side with me? Nobody was smiling now. None of them met Clarice's eyes. Fine. Clarice turned to Selena. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get into this when you've just lost. Anyway, I apologize to you. Nobody else. Selena didn't seem to register her words. Clarice threw her knife on the ping pong table. All of you can fight this war without Ares. Until I get satisfaction, no one in my cabin is lifting a finger to help. Have fun dying. What the fuck? Bro, Clarice, you can't actually mean that. There's no way you can't mean that, bro. The counselors were all too stunned to say anything as Clarice stormed out of the room. Finally, Michael Yu said, good riddance. Bro, what? You just lost Ares' cabin. What are you talking about? Are you kidding? Katie Gardner, this is a disaster. She can't be serious, Travis said. Can she? Chiron sighed. Her pride has been wounded. She'll calm down eventually. But he didn't sound convinced. I wanted to ask what the heck Clarice was so mad about. I looked at Annabeth, and she mouthed the words, "I'll tell you later." Now Chiron continued, If you please, counselors, Percy has brought something I think you should hear. Percy, the great prophecy." Annabeth handed me the parchment. It felt dry and old, and my fingers fumbled with the string. I uncurled the paper, trying not to rip it, and began to read. "A half-blood of the eldest dogs." Percy interrupted, "That's gods, not dogs." "Oh, right," I said. "Being dyslexic is one mark of a demigod. Sometimes I really hate it. The more nervous I am, the worse my reading gets." Clarice is really bitching about who get glory while they are in the middle of a war. Honestly, her pride matters more than the world being destroyed by the Titans. Fatal flaw. Fatal flaw. Alright. "A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds." I hesitated, staring at the next lines. A cold feeling started in my fingers as the paper was freezing. "And see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul, cursed blade shall reap." Is the cursed blade the scythe? Suddenly, Riptide seemed heavier in my pocket. A cursed blade. Chiron once told me Riptide had brought many people sorrow. Was it possible my own sword could get me killed? And how could the world fall into endless sleep unless that meant death? "Percy," Chiron urged, "read the rest." My mouth felt like it was full of sand, but I spoke the last two lines. "A single choice shall end his days. Olympus, to preserve," evidently. It means save. I know what it means. I did with Olympus, to preserve or raise. The room was silent. Finally, Coniston said, "Raise is good, isn't it?" "Not raise," Selena said. Her voice was hollow, but I was startled to hear her speak at all. "R-A-Z-E means destroy." "Obliterate," Annabeth said. "Annihilate, turn to rubble." Got it! My heart felt like lead, thanks. So the whole prophecy is... Let me just read this all at once so I can get this all in my head. "A half-blood of the elder..." I'm doing the voice. The Oracle voice from the movie, because it's really cool. She's like... What does she say? She says, I am the Oracle Spirit of Delphi, speaker of the prophecies of Phoebus Apollo, slayer of the mighty Python. Approach, seeker, and ask." Like that. That's so cool. "A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds. And see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul, cursed blade, shall reap. A single choice shall end his days. Olympus, to preserve or raise." Ooh, that's so hard, bro. That's so hard, bro. What? I love that. That's so good. Everybody was looking at me with concern, or pity, or maybe a little fear. Chiron closed his eyes, as if he were saying a prayer. In horse form, his head almost brushed the lights in the rec room. "You see now, Percy, why we thought it best not to tell you the whole prophecy. You had enough on your shoulders, without realizing I was going to die in the end anyway," I said. "Yeah, I get it." Fuck. Chiron gazed at me sadly. The guy was 3,000 years old. He'd seen hundreds of heroes die. He might not like it, but he was used to it. He probably knew better than try to reassure me. "Percy," Annabeth said, "you know prophecies always have double meanings. It might not literally mean you die." "Sure," I said. "A single choice shall end his days." That has tons of meanings, you're right. Yeah, that really can only mean one thing. Shall end his days? A single choice shall end his... I mean, who is his, right? No, it's definitely Percy. Because it starts off with a half-blood of the eldest gods. So this entire prophecy is about him. Oof, yikes. Yikes. "Maybe we can stop it," Jake Mason offered. The hero's soul, cursed blade shall reap. Maybe we could find this cursed blade and destroy it. Sounds like Kronos' scythe, right? That's not how that works. You can't really fuck with prophecies like that. I hadn't thought about that, but it didn't matter if the cursed blade was Riptide or Kronos' scythe. Either way, I doubted we could stop the prophecy. A blade was supposed to reap my soul. As a general rule, I prefer not to have my soul reaped. Why is it not a line the fandom should quote more? That is funny as fuck. As a general rule, I prefer not to have my soul reaped. Same. Perhaps we should let Percy think about these lines, Chiron said. He needs time. No. I folded the prophecy and shoved it in my pocket. I felt defiant and angry, but I wasn't sure who I was angry with. I don't need time. If I die, I die. I can't worry about that, right? Emma's eyes were shaking a little. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Let's move on, I said. We've got other problems. We've got a spy. Michael Uscalp. A spy? It's you. No, it's not him. It's actually not him. I told him what had happened on the Princess Andromeda. How Kronos had known we were coming. How he'd show me the silver scythe pendant he used to communicate with someone at camp. Lena started to cry again, and Annabeth put an arm around her shoulders. Well, Connor said uncomfortably, we suspected there might be a spy for years, right? Somebody kept passing information to Luke, like the location of the Golden Fleas a couple years ago. Must be somebody who knew him well. Maybe subconsciously, he glanced at Annabeth. She'd known Luke better than anyone, of course, but Connor looked away quickly. I mean, it could be anybody. Yes, Katie Gardner frowned at the Store Brothers. She just liked them, ever since they decorated the grass over the DeVito cabin with chocolate Easter bunnies. Classic. Like one of Luke's siblings. Like one of Luke's siblings. Percy being like, if I die, I die. Yeah. Like, he's been willing to sacrifice himself. He's almost done it countless times. So, like, no, for sure. Yeah, most days I prefer not to die as well. Correct. So yeah, he's done. So I don't. It doesn't surprise me that Percy says that. That's a very Percy thing to say. If I die, I die. Like straight up. Who need a hero? Anyways, Travis and Connor both started arguing with her. Stop! Selena banged the table so hard her hot chocolates spilled. Charlie's dead, and you're all arguing with her like little kids. She put her head down and began to sob. Hot chocolate trickled off the ping pong table. Everybody looked ashamed. She's right, Paul said at last. Accusing each other doesn't help. We need to keep our eyes out for a silver necklace with a scythe charm. If Kronos had one, the spy probably does too. Michael, you grunted. We need to find the spy before we plan our next operation. Blowing up the Princess Andromeda won't stop Kronos forever. No, indeed, Chiron said. In fact, his next assault is already on the way. I scowled. You mean the bigger threat beside mentioned? He and Annabeth looked at each other like, it's time. Did I mention I hate it when they do that? Yeah, he kinda did, a little bit. Percy, Chiron said, we didn't want to tell you until you returned to camp. We needed a break with your mortal friends. Annabeth flushed. It dawned on me that she knew I'd been hanging out with Rachel, and I felt guilty. You shouldn't. And I felt angry that I felt guilty. I was allowed to have friends outside camp, right? It was like, come on now, Percy, let's be real. Tell me what's happened, I said. Chiron picked up a bronze goblet from a snack table. He tossed water onto a hot plate, where we usually melted nacho cheese. Steam billowed up, making a rainbow in the fluorescent lights. Chiron fished a golden drachma out of his pocket, tossed it into the mist, and muttered, Oh, Iris, goddess of the rainbow, show us the threat. The mist shimmered. I saw the familiar image of the smoldering volcano, Mounted Helens, as I watched the side of a mountain exploded. Fire, ash, and lava rolled out. The newscaster was saying, even larger than last year's eruption, a geologist warned that the mountain may not be done. I knew all about last year's eruption. I'd caused it. But this explosion was much worse. The fountain tore itself apart, collapsing inward, and an enormous form rose out of the smoke and lava, like it was emerging from a manhole. I hoped the mist would keep the humans from seeing it clearly, because what I saw would have caused panic and riots across the entire United States, probably across the Earth. The giant was bigger than anything I'd ever encountered. Even my demigod eyes couldn't make out its exact form, the ash and the fire, but it was vaguely humanoid, and so huge it could have caused the Chrysler Building as a baseball bat. The mountain shook with a horrible rumbling, as if the monster were laughing. It's him, I said. Typhon. I was seriously hoping Chiron would say something good like, no, it's our huge friend Leroy. He's going to help us. But no such luck. He simply nodded. The most horrible monster of all. The biggest single threat the gods ever faced. He's been freed from under the mountain at last, but this scene is from 2 days ago. Here is what is happening today. Percy really did the Rocky 4. If he dies, he dies, but not himself. Yeah. That's a Monkey D. Luffy line, too. Luffy is like, my dream is to be the king of the pirates. If I die fighting for that, then I die. I've always said this. Percy is literally Luffy if he went to high school. Like, that's... If Luffy grew up in modern-day society, that is who Percy is. Like, straight up. Kyron waved his hand, and the image changed. I saw a bank of storm clouds rolling across the Midwest plains. Lightning flickered. Lines of tornadoes destroyed everything in their path, ripping up houses and trailers and tossing cars like matchbox toys. Monumental floods, the announcer was saying. 5 states declare disaster areas as the freak storm system sweeps east, continuing its path of destruction. The camera zoomed in on the column of storm bearing down on some Midwest sea. I couldn't tell which one inside the storm. I could see the giant, just small glimpses of his true form. A smoky arm, a dark clawed hand the size of city blocks. Its angry roar rolled across the plains like a nuclear blast. Other smaller forms darted through the clouds, circling the monster. I saw flashes of light, and I realized the giant was trying to swat them. I squinted, and I thought I saw a golden chariot flying into the blackness. Then some kind of huge bird, a monstrous owl, dived in to attack the giant. Are those the gods? I said. Yes, Percy, Kyron said. They've been fighting him for days now. So they are in the war. I really want Percy and Poseidon to have a team-up moment. That'd be so dope. Trying to slow him down, but Typhon is marching forward, toward New York, toward Olympus. I'll let that sink in. How long until he gets there? Unless the gods can stop him, perhaps 5 days? Most of the Olympians are there, except your father, who has a war of his own to fight. Where the fuck is Hades? Is he there? Still wild how Percy woke that. Yeah, it is. How Percy woke that monster, yeah. But then who's guarding Olympus? Connor Stoll shook his head. If Typhon gets to New York, it won't matter who's guarding Olympus. I thought about Kronos' words on the ship. I would love to see the terror in your eyes when you realize how I would destroy Olympus. Was this what he was talking about? An attack by Typhon? It was sure terrifying enough, but Kronos was always fooling us, misdirecting our attention. This seemed too obvious for him, and in my dream, the Gold Titan talked about several more challenges to come. As if Typhon were only the first. It's a trick, I said. We have to warn the gods. Nothing else is going to happen. Kyron looked at me gravely. Something worse than Typhon? I hope not. We have to defend Olympus, I insisted. Kronos has another attack planned. You did, Travis reminded me, but you sunk his ship. Everyone was looking at me. They wanted some good news. He wanted me to believe that at least I'd given them a little bit of hope on Lance and Annabeth. I could tell we were thinking the same thing. What if the Princess Andromeda was a ploy? What if Kronos let us blow up that ship? So we'd lower our guard. But I wasn't going to say that in front of Selena. Her boyfriend had sacrificed himself for that mission. Please, bro. Do not say that shit. Maybe you're right, I said. Though I didn't believe it. I tried to imagine how things could get much worse. The gods were in the Midwest fighting a huge monster that had almost defeated them once before. Poseidon was under siege and losing a war against the sea titan Oceanus. Kronos was still out there somewhere. Olympus was virtually undefended. The demigods of Camp Half-Blood were on our own, the spy in our midst. Oh, and according to the ancient prophecy, I was going to die when I turned 16, which happens to be in 5 days, the exact time when Typhon was supposed to hit New York. Almost forgot that. Well, Kyron said, I think that's enough for one night. He waved his hand, and the steam dissipated. The stormy battle of Typhon and the gods disappeared. That's an understatement, I muttered, and the war council adjourned. Fuck. Dang. They are really hitting us with this one. They're really being like, yeah, more fuck shit. all the fuck shit. All the fuck shit is happening. Season 5 of this show is gonna go so stupid. The stakes and the setup for this are so crazy, man. Like, what does the last Olympian even mean? Like that wouldn't even make any sense, because like there are 12 Olympians, right? Are the gods gonna freaking die? Like what? How would anybody be the last Olympian? Like, that's never made any sense to me. I'm so curious to see what that means. Personally, finally using more than 2 brain cells is a beautiful sight. It really is. You love to see it. You really love to see it. Unfortunately, though, I'm gonna talk about this chapter for a bit in the first couple things. But unfortunately, though, I think I'm gonna end the stream today. So I got some shit that's gnawing at me. But I will be back tomorrow. I have nothing to do tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. And we might read 2. We might just read just to keep us on track, like Bonnie said. Or we might read 5 and then read 3 the next time. And then I'll put us on track. I'm liking the 5 idea though. So we'll do that. Probably. But so far, man, this book is like, it's just, the setup is like tense. Like, this is like the stakes have never been higher. The setup has never been crazier, and it's never been more serious. Like, it's giving me a lot of Deathly Hallows Part 2 vibes, which is like how everybody at the children's place, the kid place, is like, war is coming, we all gotta fight. We all gotta fight in this war, is what we gotta do. Like, that's like it's getting dark, bro. Now they have a timetable for how long they have before the walking disaster into New York, while Percy knows it's just a distraction. Yeah, that's crazy. Typhon being a distraction, what the fuck is even that? I wonder if Kronos will have a true form. I wonder a lot of things. What could Kronos be preparing? Is the cursed blade Riptide, or is the cursed blade Kronos' scythe, or is the cursed blade some other thing? What is the endless sleep of the world? It was endless sleep, right? That's what the Oracle said. Hold on, let me go back to read this again. Here it is. A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds. So Percy's definitely gonna get to 16. And see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul, cursed blade, shall reap. What does that mean? What does that mean? What's the cursed blade? Endless sleep? Is the infinite Tsukuyomi? Is the sleep hypothetically endless? Like, it's not actually an endless sleep, but it could potentially be an endless sleep. Like, see the world enter a potentially endless sleep. That could be a thing, right? A single choice shall end his days. Is it Percy's, like, end his days? Like, that's clearly about Percy, right? How will it end his days? Is it, like... Could it not be referring to Percy? Could it be Kronos' days? You know what I mean? Like... What better way to get the gods to abandon Olympus than their greatest enemy? This is true. So many questions. I'm excited. Yes, I have a lot of questions, because what the fuck? Well, it doesn't sound quite pleasant. It doesn't. A single choice shall end his days, Olympus to preserve a race. Yeah. I'm really curious. They better not hit us with the infinite filler. No, I could tell you. You guys said like this is every chapter in this book is about to be banger, and so far they've been all great, but also all terrible because Beckendorf is dead, and we see like Poseidon's dad, like no, so Percy's dad, like hitting what could be his last stand and stuff already, and it's like the gods are fighting Typhon. It's like everybody, like Percy's been at summer, like bro, what are you talking about? I guess I mean it makes sense. So like if Percy's about to die, like Kyrie would be like, yeah, live your time, have some fun. Okay, now you can find out. And Percy's mom is just like, okay, he's gone. And she doesn't know about this prophecy. I'm assuming Percy hasn't told her yet. Especially because he doesn't know what the prophecy is, so he hasn't told her the whole thing. So Percy's mom isn't going to know that he's about to die. Are we going to meet Sally before? It's like, there has to be a portion in this book where we meet Sally before the final battle. Because Percy would not just leave the world without his mom knowing, like he thinks he's going to die. Like, Percy's obviously not gonna die, but like, because we have Heroes of Olympus to get to. But like, what the fuck? Half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds, and seed the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul cursed blades shall reap. A single choice shall end his days, Olympus to preserve or raise. We might get introduced to a random-ass sword in the middle of this. Sitting with Beckendorf's death was crazy for increasing this. You starting? Yeah, that's what you meant. With Beckendorf's death was crazy for increasing the stakes. It was. Especially after the Demigod Files, bro. Especially after the Demigod Files, that whole Beckendorf chapter. It's like, come on. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is insane. I was about to say something. I completely forgot. What was I gonna say? Something about something. I don't know. I completely forgot. I'm not gonna lie. It was something about the prophecy. One of the lines. It's probably about the cursed blade shall reap. Riptide's probably not the cursed blade. I wonder how Elizabeth Dare is gonna fit into this. My girl Rachel. And then I don't know. I can sit here theorizing all day, and I don't have enough information. I can't even tell you what the fuck's gonna happen. I can't even properly theorize. Most of the time, we don't get named character deaths, especially not this early. Yeah, we really don't. The last one we got was Lee, like Fletcher, and then one of the Stoll brothers, you know, and the not one of the Stoll brothers, one of the Dionysus brothers. But fuck. Selena better turn up. That's all I gotta say. Selena better turn the fuck up. She better bust hella ass. Like, she better run a fade so fierce on Kronos, bro. Like that. Like, I doubt Rick is the type of writer to do that. Like, right? I doubt. Like, so but in my head canon, I would love Selena to run up. She doesn't have to win, obviously, but she better like put some work in, hit him with the sword a couple times. Like, that'd be so dope. The cursed blade has to be the scythe. I mean, what is more cursed than incinerating your soul with a single cut? It literally did feel like Percy was like he said his soul was being attacked. Like, that's what it was. So it's like, we're supposed to think it's a scythe, but I feel like it's some third unknown blade. Everything will fall into place. You'll see, I'm sure. And I cannot wait to stream The Last Olympian tomorrow, because like, I need to know more. We're gonna get this done in like 5 streams. We're gonna get this done in 5 streams, I'm sure. But yeah, it's the first time I'm reading the whole book on streams. Like, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go now, guys. I'm gonna schedule a stream for tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow reading more of The Last Olympian, because. But yes, as always, thank you for joining. It was a lot of fun reading. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait till we get into the meat and potatoes of the story, see what's happening. Selena better run Kronos' fate so hard. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to finally finish the first Percy saga, as it were. So yeah, but I'll see you later. Until next time, end of stream. Tomorrow afternoon or evening? Oh shit. Thank God I saw it before I closed it. Around the same time as I don't know when afternoon or evening is, to be honest with you. I don't know when evening starts and afternoon ends or whatever. But I'm gonna say like probably at an hour before this stream was supposed to start. Was scheduled for. I started 30 minutes late, but it was supposed to start 30 minutes earlier, but an hour before then. I will probably be when I schedule it for. That's when I'll probably do it. But yeah. End of stream. See you later.